Good evening. We are live from Delmar.
Itching again, but Mike's put a lot of years in, a lot of work. Pat is a grinder. My only concern is he's on that field a long time.
Tonight, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So let's go to the Dream Scouting Network. Players to watch, and let's start with the Cape Henlopen Vikings. And the players to watch for the Cape Henlopen Vikings is number.
Forget about last year.
Right.
You know you can puff your chest up because you're the state champ, and there's been more than one banner hanging in this stadium.
Sure. Jim, have you ever been to a game at Delmar before?
No, this is my first.
Buckle in, because this place is going to get crowded, and it's going to get loud. Folks, we're going to take another commercial time out, come back with the rest. S&E Doyle General Contractors.
On it, 1st and 10 on their own 40-yard line. One wide receiver out to each side, and one player in the backfield, the I formation. Fry drops back. He's looking. He gets flushed out to the left, and he whips it out to the side. There's a flag down, probably a hold, and they were trying to get the ball out to Trey Griffin, the senior wide receiver, and I think Fry was as much trying to throw it away as anything.
He was. They're going to get number 6, Chino Harson, I believe. They're going to get Middletown for holding in the backfield. But you're right. I think Fry, it was fantastic coverage in the backfield, which is why, or the defensive backfield for Middletown, which is why Smyrna, why I thought there might have been a penalty. But a great job by the defensive backfield as Middletown had everybody out in the pattern. There was just nothing there for Fry.
And so second penalty for Middletown, though, just one for Smyrna. And so Middletown pushed back to their 25-yard line, and it's going to be 1st and 25. Fry has two wide receivers out to the right. Lockwood is in the slot position on the right, and the handoff is underneath, and that's Niger Smith again. He is off to the races. to the 30. One man to beat. A 75-yard touchdown run. Najee Smith, he is now 2 carries, 2 touchdowns.
Najee Smith, a great job again up front by Middletown. They opened a gaping hole on the left side of that line. Najee Smith then juked one Smyrna defender, and he was off to the races. And this is one thing we did see last year was amazing speed by Najee Smith.
Amazing speed. He's not big.
No, he's not.
But he is fast. He took off, and once he cleared that first line of attack, he just kept going. There was a flag down. They're waving it off, whatever it was. They don't tell you what it is when they wave it off. But so Middletown now has run 2 plays, not counting the penalty, and a 31-yard touchdown and a 75-yard touchdown for Najee Smith. I'm going to put it out right now, the Crown Trophy Player of the Game alert, Marty, since you picked that.
And Drew Fry has not completed a pass. I mean, this is just this is not the way we usually see these type of games developing.
Yep. In fact, his one pass wasn't near anybody,
Yes.
and it was a
It was a
holding
penalty,
penalty.
yes.
Yep. So Kayla Bierlein on to attempt her second extra point of the game. Johnston, not Lockwood. I think I called him Lockwood one other time. Johnston has it down. It is up, and it is good. So with 7:34 to play here in the second quarter at Smyrna High, the Sea of Red is in shock as Middletown has jumped out to a 14-0 lead. You're listening to the Fox Sports 1290 Game of the Week presented by the United States Air Force. We'll be back right after this.
You thought the beef and cheddar couldn't get any more delicious. And then Arby's added bacon to it. And you thought, oh, okay, but it can't get any better than that. And then Arby's made them 2 for $6. And then you thought, okay, but no, it can't get any better than that. And you were right. The bacon, beef, and cheddar, 2 for $6.
At participating Arby's for a limited time.
High school football on Fox Sports 1290, foxsports1290.com, and iHeartRadio.
Welcome back to Williams Stadium at Smyrna High. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan, Earl Highland producing back in the Newcastle County studio. And this stadium is as quiet as it gets as Middletown has jumped out to a 14-0 lead on just 2 plays from scrimmage. And the kickoff goes to Emmett Roberts, and he scoots it up across the 40 as he did the first kickoff for Toome, and is going to get knocked out of bounds. And there is a flag on the play as there were several Middletown players laying on the ground here by the Smyrna bench. We'll see whether it is going to be against Middletown or maybe I see a referee pointing both ways. We'll see what they have. Either way, it's going to be Smyrna ball. The question is going to be whether it's on their side of the field or if this penalty will take it into the Middletown side. Still waiting for the call here.
And it looks like these 2 teams, when they played last year, there were a number of personal foul penalties on both sides. So it looks like
this one's
they're
against
call
Smyrna.
on Smyrna.
Yep.
So
the second penalty on Smyrna is going to march the ball back to the 26-yard line. And
John, that's already 30 yards in offensive penalties for Smyrna. They just shooting themselves in the foot early and often here.
7:25 to play. Middletown with a 14-0 lead. Smyrna with the ball on their 26-yard line, moving left to right. They've got their red jerseys, white pants, and all white helmets. No emblem on the helmets that I can see. The pass is over the middle, and it's complete, and that is to Mekhi Johnson, the junior wide receiver, and he's got a first down at the 43-yard line, and that is certainly going to give Sanchez some confidence.
I've been waiting for that play against William Penn. They hit that play a number of times, a little pop pass where Sanchez just takes a couple steps back, hits the receiver that happens to be in that slot. The Middletown defenders tend to back up a little bit, and that's usually wide open.
And so the snap, they're right between the hash marks, and this time Sanchez fakes the handoff, keeps it himself around the right side, and he gets buried by Anthony Pepper, the junior linebacker for Middletown. Pick up of 1, going to move it to the 44-yard line, bring up a 2nd and 9.
Right now, sort of an unusual circumstance. We're seeing the Middletown defensive line kind of have their way with that Smyrna offensive line, especially in the middle. They're pushing them back, and it's not enabling Smyrna to have enough time to set up that run-pass option that they love to run.
And a scattering of movement there on the offensive line, some confusion, and the referee on the far side has stopped play for some reason. We'll see why. They're talking to somebody.
I believe he didn't have his chin strap.
Chin strap
yeah.
hooked. So they're going to reset the start clock there. The referees made the signal in the back, although Smyrna never takes it all the way down. I don't think there's ever been a delay game against this Smyrna team in the last 4 years. 2nd and 9, 3 wide receivers out to the left. Whaley has it. He scoots around the right side and gets knocked out of bounds at the 50-yard line. Nice tackle there by Esaias Guthrie, the senior defensive back for the Cavaliers. Going to bring up a 3rd and looks like about 4 yards.
That time there, great job by Salim Wormley on the right side. Held his block, enabled Sanchez just enough time to run that RPO option through before he eventually handed off, found an opening in the defense there. That's how that should work. This completing a pass, running that with some success should get Sanchez into the flow of things.
And here comes the earthquake with Whaley with the ball. He keeps it after faking it tonight and drives up to what appears to be a first down over the right tackle. Tackle was made by Tamar Teagle, but not until Whaley was able to pick up that first down. So it's very clear that Stephen Whaley, not only in the media and everybody's talk, is the replacement for Will Knight, the state's all-time leading rusher.
Absolutely. He's going to be the guy that gets it done. If they need to run the earthquake formation, he's going to do it. He's going to be the offensive firepower for this team.
So they are in Middletown territory for the first time tonight, and this time it's a fake again out of the earthquake, and Whaley keeps it and barrels his way, and he's close to another first down. Looks like they may mark it about a half-yard shy. We'll see when they unpile it, but Smyrna offense is now starting to look like the Smyrna offense we've known for the past several years.
It is, and the reason is it's so difficult if you're Middletown. Once those running backs get down low, which they're all taught to do, and that offensive line sort of springs up and starts blocking forward, it is so difficult for even the 2nd and 3rd level of Middletown's defense to see who has the ball and which hole they're taking. So if the offensive line can get off the ball quickly like they have these last couple plays, it's a big chance for Smyrna to turn this around.
And they're going to actually take a measurement. It's that close, so they're going to bring the sticks in from the far side. The ball is about 7 yards marked, at least 7 yards to the right of the right hash mark, moving left to right. Marty, I think we may have saw 2 measurements our entire season last year.
This is half of the entire season in the first quarter here that we've seen a measurement. In Delaware, I wonder if that's something they talked about. We do not see measurements very often in Delaware.
And so we are seeing one here, that is for sure. And so, again, it is 14-0. And the lead, and they do call it a first down. Smyrna with the lead, and they are driving the ball as they need to do. And so it's going to bring up another first down. That's the 3rd first down in the 5 plays that they have run. One was a pass, and the last 2 were runs.
And with the using the "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" routine, they're going to continue with the earthquake.
And it's going to be Whaley. He gets it about 5 yards behind the snap, maybe 4.5 yards, and he barrels forward. There's no secret what's happening here. He hasn't given it to Knight. Actually, I think he gave it to Knight once. And he gets pushed down, and it looks like he's probably going to pick up another first down as the FAR official has it marked on the 31-yard line. And so this earthquake offense, which not many teams could figure out last year at all, both in the middle of the field and or the end zone, is right back where it was, even without Will Knight.
You know what? Braden Young, who's on the right side of that Middletown line, he is being frozen every time perfectly by Wayne Knight. He cannot leave him alone in case there is a handoff, but when he stops and freezes, it creates a huge opening in the middle.
And so and Whaley is in again. Knight is on his left hip. He's trying to get Middletown to jump off sides again. He comes out of the crouch, looks over to the sideline. 3 people calling in plays. And Whaley is giving the directions to his team. Again, they're moving left to right. As we see it, they're on the right hash mark. And Whaley's going to keep it again. This time he's going to rumble to the right and try to push for that first down. And depending on the spot, he very well might have another first down.
I mean, there's no secret to what they're doing. They're running behind Salim Wormley here. They're doing a really nice job. This is where the size of that Smyrna offensive line comes into play. You start wearing down the defense. If you're an offensive lineman, you'll run this 100 times rather than run any pass plays because it's just you one-on-one with the man across from you. And if you're Salim Wormley, you're getting sometimes to the second level as well after you pancake the guy in front of you.
And they've called the play back in. It's first down and 10. Ball on the 16-yard line. That is the 5th first down in this drive, which started on their own 26-yard line. You don't want to say this is a score situation for the Eagles, Marty, because of their ability to score a lot of points. But when you're down 14-0 in your home opener against either the first or the second best team in the state, depending on which poll, you would like to get a score here. And Whaley is helping them do it. He drives forward, picks up about 5 yards, going to mark it just over the 10-yard line, like at about the 10.5-yard line.
This is just, again, no secret. Smyrna is just lining up and punching Middletown in the mouth. It's the senior number 55, Cape Kruger, who's drawn the assignment of being across from Wormley, and he's just being driven far off the ball every play.
And so it's 2nd and 5, ball officially on the 11-yard line. And rumbling up the middle is Whaley again. He's going to be tired by the time this drive is over. It looks like he's going to be about a yard shy of the first down. Looks like they've got it marked on about the 7-yard line. Going to bring up a 3rd and 2.
And that time, Salim Wormley ended up with a pancake of 2 Middletown defenders as he knocked one into another, and they both ended up going down about 6-7 yards down the field.
And so it's 3rd and 2, certainly 2-down territory here, although they're also in Buscemi's range. And the give this time is to Knight, and Knight does what his brother did. Oh, he's going to be knocked down just shy. It looked like all he had to do was lean forward. Got to the 1-yard line and knocked back, and he picked up, more importantly, or just as importantly, the first down for the Eagles.
You know, when he's a sophomore and he puts on 10 to 15 more pounds of muscle, he's in on that one
Yes.
next year. Yeah, he just kind of got stood up at the goal line there, but that was the first time they handed it tonight. You could tell it caught that Middletown front line off guard.
And they're moving quickly. They've got the Middletown defense back on their heels. You can tell that they're tired. They've been on the field a long time, and Whaley takes it and runs it right over the right tackle. And there's the signal. Touchdown. Stephen Whaley with a 1-yard touchdown run.
And John, you said it. In between the last 2 plays, the Middletown defense was basically standing up. A lot of them had hands on hips. They were exhausted by the end of that drive. So, unfortunately for that defense, this now means they're going to see a steady dose of this,
Right.
Probably from this point forward.
And so they pulled within 14-6, 2:29 to play here in the first quarter. And the Middletown, that drive took 5 minutes and 30 seconds of real time. And so even longer when you count in a couple of the penalties and everything else. So that Middletown defense has been on the field for a very long time. Now, another thing Smyrna never does is kick an extra point, even though we saw Buscemi booing them from
Yes.
40-plus yards. Whaley's got it out of the earthquake formation and drives forward in the end zone. So with 2:29 to play, Smyrna has put together a drive that consumed over 5 minutes, and it was a 12-play drive and covered 74 yards to pull within 14-8 with 2:29 to play. We'll be right back here on Fox Sports 1290 and 302 Sports.
Head to People's Plaza for their Community Day on Saturday, September 15th from 11 to 3, and their Super Shredder event and music activity, sidewalk sales, and an appearance by Rocky Blue. People's Plaza is located in Shopping Center, located in Alaska, near the state and 806, with factory shopping, graphic com.
Welcome back to Charles Williams Stadium. Smyrna put together a 12-play, 74-yard drive to pull within 14-8 with 2:29 to play here in the first quarter. Buscemi is getting ready to kick off. Back deep is Najair Smith for Middletown. Along with, it looks like it's not Nicholas Johnston. It looks like Kez Walker. And I would suggest kicking it to Walker, but instead it's going to go to Smith. And there's an offsides, looks like an offsides penalty against Smyrna. So the 6th penalty of the day between these two teams, Marty. You want to see you expect penalties, but it's usually not these kind that you expect.
It's these little, you don't want to say dumb penalties, but that's what they are. You can't run offside on a kickoff. And this is something, you don't win 3 state titles back to back to back by committing penalties like this. So, yeah, this is one of those games. Coaches, again, you love to win, but you love to have these mistakes to go back to your team and say, hey, you know what? You ain't that great. You did all this. So as a coach, you love to be able to correct some of this stuff down the road.
So Anthony Buscemi is going to try it again here. Same two guys back to receive it, Walker and Smith, standing on about their 7-yard line. Smith, of course, has the 2 touchdowns for Middletown, 2 runs, 31 yards and 75 yards. And the kick is away. It's a booming kick, and it looks like Smith is going to take it right at the goal line. He's got up. They're going to call. He caught it in the end zone, and so it is a touchback, and it will come out, and the Middletown offense will take over from there. 2:28 to play, and Middletown taking over with a 14-8 lead. They'll start on their own 20-yard line. Introducing Domino's Hot Spots. Get pizza delivered to outdoor locations like parks, beaches, and more. Maybe press boxes, Marty.
I was going to say.
Not at home? Not a problem. Visit Domino's.com for details on Domino's Hot Spots. 2:28 to play. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan, Earl Holland back producing on our studios. Nick Halliday, and the 302 Sports crew is here with us up in the press box. Drew Fry in Middletown are going to move right to left. I just got a text that the Milford game has been delayed because of lightning. Let's hope that storm's moving east and not north. Glasgow and Indian River already postponed, as was the AI Polytech game. Drew Fry is flushed out of the pocket, fires over to the right, and overthrew Nick Johnston. Almost right on target. Would have been a great catch, but Johnston wasn't able to pull it in. Going to bring up a 2nd down.
Unusual miss for Fry. That's one of his bread and butter throws from the past season. Again, Johnston, a great job. He cut that route off about 10 yards down the field. The ball was right on time, just sailed over Johnston's head.
And so it's going to bring up a 2nd and 10. Middletown not in the huddle either. They've all got wristbands on. They look to the sideline, see the play, check out their wristbands, and line up. There's going to be a trio of receivers coming out to the left. That's Guthrie, Trey Griffin, and Lockwood. They fire it out, and the question is going to be whether they caught it or not. It was at the ground to Isaiah Guthrie. It may actually lose a yard. They calling that a catch, Marty? It looks like they did.
It looks like they are. The catch on the it looks like they are calling that a catch. Wow, yeah. Again, another throw that we've seen Fry make easily over the last couple of years. But, it's probably important to mention again, Fry did miss time this preseason, including a scrimmage game against St. Francis with a back injury. So you wonder how much, true game experience he's been able to get, some simulated game experience. This is kind of like a fresh start for him tonight.
And they're on the left hash mark. They did lose a yard with that catch, and so it's going to bring up a 3rd and 11. So a big play here for the Smyrna defense is what they need. They blitz in, and they force Fry to just throw it away. It was in the direction of Trey Griffin, so it's not going to be a penalty, but it is going to bring up a 4th down.
It was one of those cases, too, where 2 Smyrna defenders in his face, so timing thrown off there a bit. Fry, again, we've seen him do this over the years, too. He's not shy about throwing the ball away. To heck with the statistics. He's going to play for the team.
And so in the punt is C.J. Lockett. He's the punter on this team. And, one of the few high school teams where you have 3 different people doing a different kind of kicks.
Yes.
Mike Judy, again, has to take a timeout, his 2nd, on a special teams play. He does not have enough players on the field, it doesn't look like.
And he's not happy.
No, he is not happy. He's barking about something. Or if he has 11 on, it's not the right 11.
Right.
And so we're going to keep it right here. A big thanks to our partner, NKN Films, for their outstanding design on our 2018 high school football schedule poster. Visit nknfilms.com for all your video needs. Coming up on the IBEW Local 313 halftime report, Earl Holland will have all the scores and updates for you.
And I believe that's now 2 timeouts, correct?
Yes.
They've had to use them both.
Yep.
One when they punted and one now when they're receiving the punt.
And we're still in the first quarter.
Yes.
And so back to punt again is C.J. Lockett, and it's Emin Roberts who is back, the first-team All-State wide receiver for Smyrna. He's standing on his own 44-yard line. Middletown kicking it right to left or north to south, if you're familiar with this stadium here in Smyrna. It's all turf, so even if it does happen to rain, it shouldn't impact the playing service. The kick is off to the right, and it's going to bounce around. It takes a Middletown kick, and it's going to be touched at the 44-yard line by Dekez Walker, and Smyrna is going to take over. A little bit of a momentum shift here, Marty?
I think so, yeah. I think, if Middletown had come out and tried to put a drive together, it's clear they wanted to get Fry involved in the offense. He hadn't been to that point. His timing's off a little bit. It looked like the receivers ran the routes they were supposed to run. Johnston was in perfect position. Fry just missed the passes. Then on the last play, the Smyrna defensive line just got great penetration up front. blitz on third down, which we've seen them do a number of times over the years. So, yeah, I think right now the momentum is squarely on the side of the Eagles.
1st and 10, ball on the Smyrna 44-yard line as they move left to right. They're on the left hash mark. Again, no wind conditions here at all. Sanchez drops back. He's trying to throw it over the defense. He was looking for Mekhi Jackson. Nice coverage out there by Tamar Teagle, the senior defensive back. So an incomplete pass going to bring up a 2nd and 10.
That was a phenomenal job and coverage by Tamar Teagle because he forced the wide receiver to the sideline, and by the time Sanchez looked up, he had nowhere to go with the ball. The receiver was actually pinned to the sideline. The only person who could have caught that was Teagle, so a nice job by Sanchez to throw that away.
And no huddle offense for Smyrna. They're right back on the line. 3 wide receivers out to the left. One goes in motion after the snap, and Sanchez is going to keep it and slide, and he's going to probably be a yard shy of the first down, going to bring up a 3rd and 1.
That time you saw the emphasis on Middletown trying to follow Stephen Whaley. He actually got lit up in the backfield, even though he didn't get the ball. It was a great play fake by Sanchez as he kept it, and a nice job to slide and avoid a big hit by the sophomores. Great presence of mind.
2nd and 10, under a minute to play here, or 2nd and 1, I should say, under a minute to play here. Whaley gets the ball, and he gets stuffed, and he's going to be shy of the first down, which is going to bring up a 4th down. Clock still running, 35 seconds to play here. It looks like the earthquake formation is coming in.
I'm shocked, John, that they didn't do that on 3rd and 1 with the success they had with it in the last possession. This time they go with a conventional offense, trying to run Whaley up the middle on 3rd and 1, and just nothing there. And again, here we go. Middletown knows what's coming. It's just a question of whether they can stop it.
18 seconds to play. Whaley's going to get the ball, and I'm sure is going to keep it. It looked like one of the Smyrna guys jumped. No, it's a short snap, or maybe it was clipped, but either way, it's going to be unsuccessful. Middletown takes over.
I agree with you, John. I think that's the same thing we saw on the Middletown snap where something interfered with it, whether the center hit himself with the ball or what, but that thing came out all kinds of crazy. And, again, another unforced error from the Eagles. And, of course, now you give Drew Fry, the best quarterback in the state, field position on his own 49-yard line. You never want to give the Cavaliers a short field.
And so another what looked like a first game mistake there for Smyrna. Turns the ball over. I guess you call that on downs because it wasn't an official fumble necessarily. And so Drew Fry is going to march his team back on here, as you mentioned, Marty, on their own 49-yard line. 7.9 seconds to play. Middletown's got a 14-8 lead, scored on their first 2 plays of the game. They did have a 3rd play that was a penalty, so officially doesn't count, and looked like offsides there. Drew Fry gets it, and Jair Smith, all he's done is score a touchdown. Every time he touches the ball, he's going to pick up a first down. I could have sworn somebody was offside.
You know what? It was Middletown. Ralph Alessi, the running back, started toward the line of scrimmage and got about 2 yards upfield, and the referee never called anything. He tried to stop, but it was clear to everyone in the stadium that it was illegal procedure, but apparently the guys in stripes were the only ones who didn't see it.
Yeah, he moved forward. He moved left and right, and that is going to bring us to the end of the first quarter here at Smyrna. Your score, Middletown 14, Smyrna 8. You're listening to the Fox Sports 1290 Game of the Week, presented by the United States Air Force, and watching a live stream on 302 Sports.
So here we go, Cape, another chance. So that's number 28 is Jones again. Not only is he a converted guard, he's a kick returner.
15-8 lead as we are underway here in the second quarter. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan.
That's the first time we've seen Middletown tonight run that sort of comeback bubble screen, getting Guthrie the ball behind the line of scrimmage, allowing the receivers in the line on the right side to get out in the block in front of him. So a nice job by Middletown, starting to get a little bit of momentum on offense going now.
And so it is 1st and 10 for Middletown, moving left to right in their all-white jerseys and the royal blue helmets. And the give is up the middle, and that is Ben Martin, the sophomore running back. And he's going to pick up a yard before being brought down by a host of red jerseys.
You know, this is something I heard Mark Del Percio talk about over the years, and he always prided himself on the way they taught it and the running backs executed it. You rarely ever see a Middletown running back get thrown backwards. They always fall forwards. They end up spinning their body. So even if they're stopped for no gain, they end up with a 1.5 yard gain. That's what Martin did there.
And so it's going to bring up a 2nd and 9, ball on the 24-yard line. Drew Fry in the shotgun formation. Jair Smith, who has both of Middletown's touchdowns, already over 100 yards behind him. Fry drops back. He fires over the middle. Incomplete. It looks like he was trying to hit Nick Johnston. A flag is down, and
Yeah,
Johnston was calling for it.
They're going to get Gavin Sembley in the defensive backfield there. He had a little grab of Johnston's shirt as he made his cut. Johnston was going to be wide open. I really can't blame Sembley from Gavin Sembley, the junior, from jumping in there, but it looked like that was going to be a short touchdown.
And that's the kind of throw and would-be catch that we are used to seeing from Drew Fry.
Yes,
You know, the
exactly.
typical pro-style quarterback drops back, fires over the middle. His man would have been wide open if not for the hold, and that is going to bring up a first down for Middletown, their second first down on this drive that started at their own 49-yard line. 10:47 to play. Cavaliers with a 14-8 lead here in the second quarter. A matchup between the top two teams in the state, depending on whose poll you like to follow. Drew Fry has his team on the right hash mark, lined up on the 13-yard line. Smith is lined up behind him. One wide receiver out to the left. That's Guthrie, two on the right, and he fires to the outside. This time he's got his man, Nick Johnston, who rolls out of bounds. They're going to call him out at the 3-yard line, and another perfect throw and catch. Obviously, those two guys have played some football together.
They have. That's one of those Drew Fry specials. There's not a lot of quarterbacks in the state who can make that out pass. It's only going to get you about 10, 12 yards, but he is throwing that ball a long way in the air. Fry would never be accused of having substandard arm strength.
So it's going to bring up another first down. Ball is on the 3-yard line. There's going to be two running backs in the backfield behind Fry. It's going to be Ben Martin and Jair Smith. Johnston is lined out to the right. And actually Smith has moved to Fry's hip. Fry is going to keep it. He's going to run over his tackle, dives for the end zone. Looks like he's going to be about a yard short. And so it's going to bring up a second, and it looks like about only a foot from where we're standing.
I talked about that in the pregame. One of the probably more underappreciated parts of Fry's game is his ability to run the football. There you have a guy. You're never going to spy somebody like Drew Fry. He just doesn't have the speed to use a defender for that. So you kind of get an extra offensive player when he chooses to run the ball. Nice job there by Smyrna of standing him up, at least delaying the touchdown. You never know what can happen.
Delmar leading Cape 14-0, so upset in the making, although maybe when you're the defending Division II state champion,
Welcome
you should
to Cape
be
Henlopen,
a
JD
Division
Mall,
I. Right, exactly. And Fry keeps it on the keeper and up the middle, and he's going to be short again. So it's going to bring up a third and foot. It looks like he didn't gain any, didn't lose any, but the Smyrna defense coming up big here.
You know, I'm guessing we're not going to see that too many more times. Fry took a big shot on that one, and him coming off the back injury in the preseason, I'm guessing they're not going to want to expose him to that many hits. I'd be surprised if we didn't see sort of almost a bull-type rush right up the middle here from Middletown.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm actually surprised they didn't try to run Jair Smith around the left side as fast as he is.
Speed.
And they're on the right hash mark, so they got plenty of real estate over there, and they're actually sending Nicky Johnston over there now, maybe to throw a block to do just that. We'll see. And here's the snap, and the give is to Smith, and he is stuffed. And there's a flag coming in, and it's coming in from the referee, which typically tells you it's against the offensive line. We'll see here. It's either going to be a first and goal, or it's, well, depending on the penalty, depending on what it is. It's being spotted at the 2-yard line, so Smith actually lost 2 yards. And we'll see what happens here with the penalty. The referee just made the hold signal, and he's asking Mike Judy, do you want to take the 10 yards or do you want to take the down? Judy is going to decline the penalty, it looks like. So it is a hold against Middletown. They have declined. It's going to bring up a 4th down and 2. He's putting confidence in his defense, Marty.
He really is. I mean, that's boy. If you're a defensive team member, you love the confidence being displayed by your coach and you hear. If you're Middletown, again, it's not where they're now in a situation where they could just bull rush it right up the middle at 2 yards. You need to do a little bit of finesse work here. So this is not necessarily Middletown in a short yardage situation is not usually their bread and butter.
This is a big play for both the offense of Middletown and the defense of Smyrna. It could shift the momentum significantly either way. Johnston goes in motion right to left, and Fry's looking over the middle, fires in and out of the hands, but it would have been a great catch. He had Trey Griffin across the back of the end zone. Would have been a fabulous catch. I say in and out of the hands. He was diving for that ball, and Smyrna stands up.
You know what, Lum and Nicky Johnson, no one picked him up out of the backfield. He was wide open at the left side of the end zone. By the time the Smyrna defensive back picked him up, Fry had already let go of the ball, but Johnston kind of threw his arms up and stomped his feet after that. He was wide open coming across the formation, which was a mistake on Smyrna's part, but a great job by the Eagles coming up with a defensive stand deep in their own territory.
And so Smyrna takes over on their own 2-yard line, now moving right to left. They're on the left hash mark. Sanchez is standing about 2 yards deep in his end zone. Stephen Whaley, the senior running back, is lined up behind him. Whaley's carried the ball 99% of the times. He's going to get the carry here, and he's brought down in the end zone, and that's going to be a safety.
Wow.
It is a safety. So Middletown, and it looked like that was number 33, C.J. Lockett, that made contact. Also in on the play, it seemed, was Ryan Fields. And so just when the momentum goes one way, Marty, it's back the other way.
It does. And, again, it's sort of an odd play call. You run an RPO from inside the end zone, and if it doesn't go off without a hitch with a quarterback who's never started a varsity game, you get what just happened there. Middletown with the penetration. So a great job by Middletown. It's very easy to be deflated after not getting in the end zone, but the defense comes in and right off the bat puts 2 points on the board. So, I mean, just an amazing job by the Middletown special teams so far tonight.
And so it is 16-8. We're going to keep it right here. 8:36 to play here in the second quarter in this Harvest Bowl that started years and years ago when both these schools were Division II teams, and there was 80% of the land of both towns was made up of fields and farming, and it's almost flipped to the opposite where it's now 20%, and both of these teams are Division I powerhouses. Middletown with the lead 16-8. They scored on their first 2 plays from scrimmage, a 31-yard touchdown run by Najee Smith, and then a nifty 75-yard scamper on their very next possession. Got them out to a big start, and then it was Whaley on a 1-yard run that capped off a 12-play, 74-yard drive for the Smyrna Eagles. And just when all the momentum was standing in Smyrna's way, when their defensive came up with a huge stop on a goal line stance on the very next play, the safety in the end zone on the handoff to Whaley, and now Buscemi is chosen to kick off. He had a choice, punt or kick, and he's going to kick from his own 20-yard line. And the Middletown return men are at their own 20-yard line.
I just want to say I misspoke. It's obviously the Middletown defense that caused that safety, not their special teams.
And the kick is away. Najee Smith takes it on the 25-yard line. We'll see if he can do his magic here. He breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle, and then he's brought down from behind by Chino Sarson, but not until he gets into Middletown territory at the 48-yard line. So Middletown will start in Smyrna territory for the second time tonight.
Boy, John, Najee Smith has come to play tonight. He's been electric every time he's touched the football. He did everything he could a while back to try to keep from fielding the ball in the end zone so he could return a kickoff from Smyrna. He's just been on fire tonight. It looks like, when you lose a guy like Kedrick Whitehead who did so much for this team, you never know who's going to step up and be the guy. So far tonight, against a very good team, it's been Najee Smith.
Najee Smith had 34 carries for 330 yards and 4 touchdowns last year. So no stranger to the backfield for Middletown. But like you said, he played second fiddle to Kedrick Whitehead, just as Whaley did to Mr. Knight. Drew Fry drops back. He whips it over to the left side, has his man. That's Tamar Teagle, and he is brought down and knocked out of bounds at the 31-yard line by Debo Williams, who had 128 tackles last year, but didn't make that one until the first down was scored on the 35-yard line.
No, that time Williams kind of got turned around. He thought Teagle was going to continue down the field. Teagle cut off his route. Fry hit him perfectly. Nice gain for the Middletown offense. They're starting to get the passing game in sync. You pretty much tell Drew Fry is starting to get things in order now, starting to feel more comfortable out there.
He's moving left to right on the left hash mark with his team up 16-8, 8:05 to play here in the second quarter. And this one is a handoff to Smith. He escapes one tackle, cuts it up the seam, still on his feet, and brought down in the touchdown saving tackle by Adam Tuxworth there, but not until Smith picked up another first down.
This was another area where Coach Del Percio and Blum are so proud of the way their players take care of business on the field. That time, Nick Johnston with a great block out on the edge. He was in the formation. Once he saw Smith coming to his side of the field, he tied up his man, allowed Smith to cut inside of that for about 8 to 10 more yards. But again, Smith is hitting the line of scrimmage with such great acceleration, and no one is meeting him to slow him down. So he's getting a great running start, having a great night.
You know, he avoids being tackled head on.
Yes.
And by head on,
Yes.
I mean right in front of him. And I think that's what makes him such a great runner. He's on the right hip of Fry. Fry's going to drop back and whip it out to the side as his man. That's Esias Guthrie, the senior, and he gets leveled there by Ryan McFarlane. And Guthrie's slow to get up, but
You know what,
he does
John,
get up.
if you're a wide receiver, you call that a medicine ball, because when the quarterback leaves you hanging out to try like that, most likely you're going to need some kind of medical treatment on the sideline afterward. If you're a receiver, you never want that ball delivered that high, so there's a chance for you to be undercut. Another somewhat of a miss by Fry, but a great job by Guthrie to come down with that.
And it was a clean hit. McFarlane made a clean hit.
Absolutely,
It was definitely clean, and the way you teach how to tackle. So a clean hit. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 3, ball on the Smyrna 12-yard line. Middletown trying to punch it in after creating a safety on the last Smyrna possession. Nijair Smith up the middle, escapes 2 tackle, a 3rd tackle, dives into the end zone. Touchdown, Nijair Smith with a hat trick.
We're starting to run out of ways to describe this kid. I mean, the juking, this is like the old X button on the Madden game when you're playing in your living room. He's just juking and jiving all over. Once he gets past the initial point at the line of scrimmage, he's picking out the linebackers and the defensive backs, and he's just going up to the point of contact, then making quick cuts either right or left. Sooner or later he gets north, and again he's in the end zone. Just an amazing night for Smith.
And Caleb Bierline's going to come on and try to extend the lead to 15. Right now it's 22-8 with 6:35 to play here in the second quarter. Nicky Johnson has the hold on the 10-yard line. Bierline right smack in the middle of the hash marks. Already 2 for 2 on the night. The snap is back. The hold is down. The kick is up. And it is no good. It was wide left for whatever reason. But either way, Middletown punches it in again. Nijair Smith, his 3rd touchdown of the night. They've got a 22-8 lead. We're going to take our final timeout of the first half here on Fox Sports 1290 and 302 Sports.
Life's too short to hate your home. Remodel your home with the pros voted Delaware's #1 home improvement company. Ferris Home Improvements has something for every homeowner at their new showroom on the corner of Kirkwood Highway and Harmony Road in Newark, Delaware. Explore products and layouts with the area's top designers. Touch and feel products that inspire your dream space. Ferris Home Improvements' pride in the details make them the area's best in roofing, windows and doors, siding, decks, kitchens, and bathrooms. Want a professional, no-pressure remodel? Go see the best at the Big Shamrock on Kirkwood Highway. Ferris Home Improvements. Quality workmanship from a neighbor you can trust.
Has scored again his 3rd touchdown of the night to take a 22-8 lead over Smyrna. 6:35 to play here in the second quarter. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan, both on Fox Sports 1290 and also the 302 Sports live stream. Kicking off for Middletown is going to be Sean Freeberg, just a sophomore, kicking left to right. And 4 people are back. He's going to squib kick this one, and it's going to be picked up there by number 21, Thomas Smith, at the 25-yard line. And he's going to pick up about 7 yards before he's hauled down at the 34. So Smyrna will take it over here. Marty, it'll be interesting to see if they go more pass-oriented or earthquake-oriented.
You know, I think you and I were both surprised that they got away from that earthquake, especially since they had Middletown on such the defensive. I mean, that literally as well. I mean, they were backing up. The hands on hips, they were extremely tired. So I'm going to be surprised if they don't go back to that quickly.
And we'll see here. They're moving right to left as we see it, more on the right hash mark than the left. 1 wide receiver to the left, 2 out on the right. Sanchez looks over and gets a different play. Whaley is lined up behind him. Sanchez is barking out the orders. Only a sophomore. I think this kid definitely has a bright career ahead of him, even though he came into tonight's game attempting just 4 passes, of course, behind Nolan Henderson and Isaiah Smith. Whaley gets it up the middle, and after being grabbed by a couple defenders, manages to dive forward for 2 more yards. Looks like it's going to be a pickup of about 3, and it's going to be moved to the 37-yard line.
Yeah, there looked like some confusion along the offensive line. It took a long time to get that play call in. The offensive coaches on the sideline looked like they were not happy with the way things were going on that one. So, again, it's a growing pains for the young man. It's his first varsity start as a sophomore.
And it's going to bring up a 2nd and 7 Ball on the 37-yard line. 2 wide receivers out to the left, 1 in the slot to the right, and 1 all the way on the far right sideline. Whaley is on the right hip of Sanchez. Sanchez fires it over to the right, has his man. Looks like you're going to be about 1 yard shy of the first down. Making the catch over there was senior Emmett Roberts, the first team All-State wide receiver from last year. Going to bring up a 3rd and 1.
That was a really nice job. Sanchez, before the play, motioned Whaley over to his right side because he saw a blitzer coming from that direction to make sure he had the time to find his target. So good poise shown by the youngster on that play.
2 wide receivers to the left, 2 to the right on the short side. They're on the right hash mark. Whaley on the left hip, and a flag is thrown.
Yeah, that was. This is one of those things they've. This is another point of emphasis, John. The head bob from the quarterback.
Yep.
I think he gave a really exaggerated kind of reaching for the football from the center. We saw this in the NFL during the preseason. They've shown that they're going to call that more, but. Yeah, I think you got to get that a little bit more under control. Again, a little growing pain for the quarterback.
And so the referee did go right up to the youngster and explain to him exactly why the penalty was called, and not a lot of argument from Sanchez here. They're looking over. There is some argument from the coaches here arguing with the ref who didn't make the call, but I guess just trying to make a point. Now, the play clock is moving, and I say that it's moving in the referee's head, and they're taking quite a bit of time to get this play in. So Sanchez is in the shotgun formation, probably closer to a pistol formation. Whaley is on his left hip, as he's been most of the night. 2 wide receivers on the short side of the field, and 2 right in front of us. The give is to Whaley up the middle, and Whaley looks like he has the first down, although depending on which ref you look at, the ref closest to us, he's definitely got it. The ref on the other side, where you would think he would have the say because he's closer to the ball, it would have to take a measurement, I would think, or not be a first down. We'll see.
They're literally standing about a yard apart if you look across the field. So there was definitely some – well, they went with the guy on the first down, which is interesting because they usually go with the spot closest to the hash mark. And in that case, that referee did not have it marked as a first down.
Either way, 4:25 to play. Middletown at 22-8 lead. Smyrna putting together a drive, their first down of this drive. And it's a fake play-action pass. They dump it over the middle, and that's Mekhi Jackson, and he's tackled, loses the ball, but I think they're going to say he was down. He did recover it himself anyway, but a little trick play there, just threw it over everybody, and he grabbed it and hauled it in and didn't get tackled until he was down at the 32-yard line. Going to be another first down.
That's another variation of that little pop pass that they ran successfully in their scrimmage game against William Penn. Again, it was to the same individual, which is Mekhi Jackson, the junior wide receiver, so a nice job by Sanchez of reading the defense and finding Sanchez in the middle.
And so 4 minutes to play here in the second quarter. 1st and 10 ball on the 32-yard line. Emmett Roberts sprints to the right side. Looked like he was lined up in the wrong spot. 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 in the slot. Looked like he moved early, no flag. And firing up the middle is Sanchez. Threw it behind his receiver. He was trying to hit Mekhi Jackson on the play. Nice coverage there by Tamar Teagle. We've called his name a couple times tonight. Going to bring up a 2nd and 10.
And you know what? All things considered, that might not end up being a bad decision by Sanchez. I think what he saw was the safety, Nick Johnston, in the middle of the field, who was making his way. He wanted to lead the receiver there, but Johnston was closing fast, so he couldn't lead him as much as he wanted to, which leads to the incomplete pass.
Johnston, 3 interceptions last year, so certainly is a ball hawker. 2nd and 10 on the 32-yard line. Whaley on the left hip of Sanchez, and is that a flag or a timeout?
Yeah, we got an offside on Middletown.
Wow.
You know, what they're doing is, and this, I don't remember seeing this last year, if the snap appears to be imminent, the referee, if a player is lined up offside, instead of letting the play go as a free play, they're throwing the flag and calling the 5-yard penalty.
And so they're consistent on both sides. They're being consistent with these offside penalties, both with the head bob. And so the 4th penalty of the night for Middletown, 9 overall for both these teams, 5 for Smyrna. So it moves it to a 2nd and 5. And a little pump fake and trying to throw it over, and has his man. Touchdown, Devin Smith in the left corner of the end zone. So a great pass by Sanchez, a 27-yarder from Sanchez to his receiver for the score, and it's 22-14.
John, that was a senior play by Aiden Sanchez. That was absolutely phenomenal. He pump faked to slow down the corner who thought he was going to throw it. The receiver kept going, and then just perfect touch over the top in stride to the receiver. So just a a fantastic job, and you got to think that's going to send the confidence skyrocketing for Aiden Sanchez and this offense by extension.
And so another Smith scores. This time it's Devin Smith for the Eagles. Earthquake formation. Whaley fumbles the ball, picks it back up, and Middletown jumps on it. So a failed attempt off that Earthquake. Another bad snap looked like there. And so with 3:44 to play, Smyrna is catching up, but not quite there. It's 22-14 Middletown. We're going to keep it right here. The DFRC Blue Gold All-Star player to watch was Salim Wormley from Penn State University, or heading to Penn State University. Not there yet, I should say. Mark your calendars for the 64th DFRC Blue Gold All-Star football game on June 22nd, 2019. So, Marty, a little bit momentum shift now back into Smyrna.
It is. This has been a really interesting game. I mean, we've had so many ebbs and flows in the momentum category, and we still have 3:44 to go before halftime. I think one thing we're seeing is Drew Fry starting to get more comfortable out there, and Najir Smith is having a night to remember. And the youngster, Aiden Sanchez, the quarterback, starting to come into his own. He's directing traffic out there. He's moving guys around on offense, sort of the chess pieces. And then I just can't emphasize enough to people who may not be watching that on 302 Sports. That was an amazing throw. Go out of your way to watch that highlight if they post it. A great job by the youngster.
It was a little hitch and then go, and Smith ran right under it. A great catch. Devin Smith, only a sophomore, so big things coming for him. Buscemi with a little pooch kick, and it's going to be handled there by Esias Guthrie. And Guthrie is trying to work his way around, breaks a couple tackles, trying to get to the outside, picks up a block by Niger Smith, and eventually gets run out of bounds at the 43-yard line over along the left sideline. So Middletown will take over there.
Yeah, that was an interesting. I guess Middletown had returned most of the kickoffs back to about the 40-yard line, so not a bad idea. We've seen Mike Judy do a bunch of different things with the kickoffs over the years. We probably will not see again the return to the era of the pop-up onside kick, as that has now been outlawed in high school football. Rules changed by the NFHS, something that Smyrna really used to terrific advantage the first 2 years when they won their first two state titles.
But that's a good rule change.
I like
for
it.
safety.
I agree.
Because all that did was hang somebody out to dry.
Yes, it did.
So I like that. And, if you're going to onside kick, there's other ways to do it.
Yes, there are.
And we haven't seen it yet from Smyrna after their scores, but we'll see. And, Buscemi, I think they're trying to use him more as a weapon this year.
I do, too. I agree 100%.
3 trips to the right, and Fry is in the shotgun formation. Smith back with him. Fry throws over the middle, trying to hit Johnson, and Johnston is pulled down from behind again, and so it's going to be another penalty, this time on Debo Williams. And so Johnston's doing a great job getting himself open, and Smyrna leaving the Smyrna defensive backs with no other choice but to pull him down. So that's going to be they're offsetting penalties.
Wow. Yeah, it looks like I don't know if they got a hold on Middletown in the backfield, but yeah, I'll tell you one thing I love about that pass from Drew Fry. There's a tendency from quarterbacks to try to throw that straight down the middle of the field. Instead, he kept it going to the left so his receiver could continue running and catch up to that football, and it resulted in Debo Williams having to make that hold and bring Johnston down.
And it was close. It wasn't as obvious as you might think, but it was definitely a good call. But it wasn't where he literally pulled him out of the air. Johnston was diving for the ball, and Debo Williams just kind of took him down while he was diving. But it does look like offsetting penalties here, and it looks like they're going to march off the pass interference first, which will be, of course, it's not unlike the NFL. It's from the line of scrimmage. And so they're going to march that one off. And then I guess
waiting to see.
Did they pick the other one up?
Yeah, it looks like they did. I'm not sure. There were 2 flags on the field.
Yeah.
There was one thrown in the offensive backfield, but I'm not sure.
And now they're going to go another. They're pointing as if unsportsmanlike conduct. So the second unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Smyrna, and so this is going to be a doozy.
Yeah, this is a big one. 30 yards in penalties again, and boy, Smyrna's got to be approaching the 100-yard mark pretty soon in penalties, if not there already in this first half.
And so all of a sudden, Middletown has moved from their own 47-yard line to the Smyrna 28-yard line for the second. The first one was a personal foul against Smyrna, meaning the first one of the 2 unsportsmanlike variety. This one was called an unsportsmanlike penalty in the backfield, and that's what had us thrown off. It was the flag was thrown where it's usually typically a hold, especially when your quarterback has that kind of time.
They also had the blindside block early in the game, which was another 15-yard penalty. So, yeah, they've really shot themselves in the foot with big yardage penalties.
And so with 3:28 to play, Middletown has a 22-14 lead. Momentum, you would have to say, is back in their favor after that big pass and catch from Sanchez to Devin Smith pulled Smyrna within 22-14 just about 20 seconds ago on game clock. Now the referees are huddling together to discuss this.
I think what they do now, it's one of those situations where if they receive another unsportsmanlike call penalty, they would be ejected.
Yeah, and that could be it. That's something that they've tried to take more control over.
Which is great.
We've seen too many. Yeah, we've seen too many in several different games. Yep. Drew Fry, it's a fake to J.R. Smith in several different games. Yep. Drew Fry, it's a fake to J.R. Smith. He's going to roll out to the right. He's looking to the end zone. He's got his man. That's Guthrie. Touchdown.
That's a Division I quarterback throw right there. Drew Fry having great communication with his receiver. He knew that Guthrie was going to come back. Guthrie was going to come back for the ball. A great job of Fry communicating with his receiver there. Just a beautiful play pass by Drew Fry.
And so the two penalties in a row on the same play for Smyrna hurting them there as Fry was able to loft the ball into the back right corner of the end zone, and Guthrie pulled it down. So Guthrie, who had only one touchdown last year, has already equaled that number this year as Middletown has pulled ahead 28-14 with 3:20 to play. So after several turnover on downs and punts, we've now had our fourth touchdown, or our fourth score, I should say, on a fourth possession by one of both or either team. So 4 straight scores here on 4 straight possessions. Beerline's kick is up, and this time it's off to the right post. So after hitting one to the left, she now misses off to the right, which I guess, Marty, probably is not really uncommon. It's like when I duck hook a ball into the woods off the tee, my next one's in the pond on the right. So the score's going to stay there. 3:20 to play. It's 28-14. Middletown with a lead over Smyrna. Andrew Mears, the basketball coach here, just popped up to say hello to us. And so he's here enjoying this game tonight, coming up to say hello. 3:20 to play, 28-14. Middletown with a lead over Smyrna.
John, who did Smyrna lose to in basketball in the championship game this year?
Your alma mater,
that's
St. Elizabeth.
That's St. Elizabeth's Vikings?
Already getting a little bit thick here. Marty, remember, we are at Smyrna
That's
tonight.
right, that's right. I got to watch the crowd here.
They probably know where your truck is located in the parking lot. All right, 3:20 to play here. Middletown is going to kick off. They're moving left to right. And we were talking about the wind and how there is no wind. And the weather, well, it's certainly not overly comfortable, but it's not as hot as we've had on September.
Not.
In fact, we both said if this is as hot as we get this season, we're going to be in good shape. The kick is away, and it's going to be scooped up on the 12-yard line. It looks like Whaley, who has it, he's going to bring it up the right seam, and he is brought down. It looks like they're going to mark it at the 26-yard line. So with 3:13 to play here in the first half, Smyrna is going to take over on their own 26-yard line. We'll see if Sanchez is able to pull together another drive like he did, a 5-play drive that ended in that 27-yard touchdown toss to Devin Smith.
You know, this game is starting to look more and more like the season opener last year, where Coach Judy wanted to get Isaiah Wilson as much work as he could. He seems to be kind of going back to that pass with Sanchez, and you can see the confidence between Sanchez, the line, the backs, and the wide receivers developing before our eyes here. So I'm sure this is something Judy wanted to accomplish in this game.
2 wide receivers on each side. The handoff, I know it looks a fake. It looked like you were trying to hand off maybe a quarterback option there, and Sanchez ended up keeping it and gets buried behind the line of scrimmage by Ryan Fields. So that'll go down as a sack for Middletown and bring up a 2nd and 12.
Yeah, again, that was a case where Middletown's defensive line got through so quickly. Sanchez really wasn't able to take stock of anything. He turned around to look at his running back and immediately was confronted by 2 Middletown defenders.
And so it brings up a 2nd and 12. And the ball has been pushed back to the 24-yard line. 3 wide receivers out to the left, one of them in the slot, 1 wide receiver by himself over on the right. And this time he whips it out, and it's almost picked off by J.R. Smith. So a rookie mistake there by the quarterback, Sanchez. Got lucky there that Smith isn't about 3 inches taller. It would have been a pick 6.
Wow, Najair Smith, yeah, he was eyeing that up from the beginning. He waited. He saw Sanchez look over. Again, that's one of those things that a young quarterback, once he gets, they get him in the film room, Coach Marks, Coach Judy, they'll work that out. He'll start to pick that up.
And now, so with 2:33 to play, the clock stops there. It brings up a 3rd and 12. Middletown has all 3 of its timeouts left, and I'm going to have to assume Blum's going to take one of them here if Smyrna doesn't pick up a first down. 3rd and 12, ball on their own 24. Middletown with a 28-14 lead, 2:33 to play here in the first half. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan here on Fox Sports 1290 and the 302 Sports live stream. Sanchez drops back, fires over the middle, and a diving interception by Nick Johnston, his first of the year after 3 last year. And so Nick Johnston shows why he is so valuable to this team on both sides of the ball.
You took the words right out of my mouth. You saw right there why he's one of the best wide receivers around. He lays out for that ball in the defensive backfield. Just a throw that got away from Sanchez a little bit. He's trying to make something happen there in a 3rd and 12 situation, but exactly what you don't want to do is turn it over to a potent offense that has gotten on a roll in plus territory.
And so Middletown doesn't have to use any timeouts. They've got 3 left, 2:27 to play, and Drew Fry's going to march his squad onto the field. They're on the Smyrna 44-yard line, moving left to right. They are on the left hash mark, so the left side of the field is the short side of the field. Guthrie, who just had that great catch in the end zone in the right corner, is on that side. Johnston is lined up on the right seam here. Going in motion from right to left is Ralph Alisi, and the give is to Niger Smith, and why not? He runs up over the left tackle. Looks like he picks up about 6 or 7 yards. We'll see where they mark it. It's going to bring up a second down.
You know, when we watched DMA last year, you and I kind of remarked that Karan Aline, as soon as he took the ball from the quarterback, he hit to another gear. Najair Smith seems to be developing that. He is hitting the line at full speed, and if there's no one there, he is doing such a nice job of cutting in and out of that defense. And again, there, he ran smack into a Middletown defender, but at the last second, he maneuvered himself so he didn't take a huge hit.
That's a great observation about him hitting that line at full speed, just like Aline. Under 2 minutes to play, Guthrie lined out on the right. Smith is on Fry's left hip. Fry's going to drop back. Worley tries to get in. He throws it over. That throws it over the defense. Trey Griffin couldn't get underneath it, overthrew him, and that's a nice, safe throw.
That is a great throw because you're right. And I know you're thinking the same thing as me. You leave it to where only your guy can get the ball. No way a Smyrna defender is going to get to that, and you leave it in a spot. You let your wide receiver run under it. That time a little too much air on it. But, again, a great look from Fry, and it's something that is there, just overthrown a bit.
And so it's going to bring down up a 3rd and 3, 1:39 play. And I think Zach Blum would love to pick up a first down, Marty, not for the first down itself necessarily, just to keep the ball.
Yes, I agree.
Because you don't want to give this high-powered Smyrna offense. No. Not so high-powered tonight yet, but we know what they are capable of anytime you have Whaley and Evan Roberts in your lineup. Fry's going to be flushed out to the right. He fires over to the right side, has his man at the 28-yard line, and then tackled. And that was almost a swinging tackle there by Debo Williams. He's lucky he didn't get called for a penalty there. That was Tamar Teagle on the reception, and he got his coach exactly what he wanted, which was a first down.
Yeah, and you're right. That tackle was made with some bad intentions, it looked like. A great job again. The Middletown line sort of lets the Smyrna D-line through. One of the things we saw Fry improve upon more than anything from his sophomore to junior year was rolling out to the right and hitting his wide receivers on the run. That play's been open all night long. You have to think they're going to go back to that again at some point.
Middletown with a 14-point lead, 28-14, 1:28 to play here in the second quarter. Driving the ball. They're down on the Smyrna 24-yard line on the right side of the field. Fry drops back again, fires over to the right side, and Johnston got tied up that time with Gavin Sembley. No penalty, and there shouldn't have been, but the ball is incomplete out of the back of the end zone. It's going to bring up a second down. Clock stops with 1:23 to play.
That was a great adjustment by Gavin Sembley. Earlier in the game, he was letting Johnston get in front of him to make that cut. That time he actually cut Johnston's path off, but he did it in a way that would not be considered interference. It was simply a matter of the way the play was developing. So a great job there by Gavin Sembley, the junior defender, making an adjustment.
2 wide receivers out to the left, 2 to the right here on the short side. They're moving left to right. They're on the right hash mark. Niger Smith is on the right hip of Fry. Fry is going to play action pass, and he fires and has Guthrie again, and it's going to be another first down. And Guthrie is brought down by 4 Smyrna players, led there by Ryan McFarlane, the junior defensive back, but not until Guthrie had a first down.
And, we all talk about how great a quarterback Drew Fry is. You can't do it without really good wide receivers. And that time, Guthrie kind of turned around. The ball hit him just as he turned around. He's still able to pull that in. When you're a quarterback and you have the confidence in your receivers to make that throw, it makes things so much easier for the quarterback.
Dekez Walker runs onto the field with the play, and then he's going to line up on the far left side. Ball still on the right hash mark. Guthrie is lined out on the right. That's Johnston that is in the slot position. Fry drops back. He looks, and he fires, and he's got Guthrie, who has to go to the ground to make the catch, but does so on the 2-yard line. And so that's going to bring up a 2nd and goal, and it looks like Middletown's going to take its first of 2 timeouts.
And a really nice job by Drew Fry. I don't think he wanted to make that throw any higher, as it would have been subjected to some traffic in the defensive backfield by Smyrna. So a nice job. It forces Guthrie to go to the ground. And again, he puts it in a place where only the Middletown receiver can come up with it.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. He threw the one out of bounds that they couldn't run under beyond the end zone. And then that one there, it's either going to be incomplete or he's going to complete it like he did.
And, I wanted to point out before I forget, I was on Twitter this afternoon and saw an exchange between Nolan Henderson and Kenny Edelin, where Kenny Edelin was trying to get Nolan Henderson involved in a little wager on this game tonight. I love Nolan's comeback. His comeback was, come see me in December when it matters. So, Nolan, the crown holder of 2 rings, but 2 guys, they were both going to be watching the game tonight. You just love to see guys who move on to the next level and are still so invested in the high school team, the coaches, the players they left behind.
Henderson alluding to the fact that Middletown beat Smyrna in that Week 1 game last year to break the 20-plus game winning streak that the Eagles held at the time, only to lose in the game that matters most, the state championship game. I think that final score was 30-27.
Yes, it was.
And so Middletown back on the field, having used their first timeout. It's 2nd down, 2 yards to go. Ball's on the right hash mark. They're moving left to right as we see it. That's Smith in the backfield along with Ben Martin. This time Drew Fry is going to keep it and barrel into the end zone for the touchdown. So a 2-yard quarterback keeper by the All-State quarterback is good for the score, and it is 34-14 with the extra point pending.
I love that by Drew Fry. He lowered the shoulder, didn't put his head down to initiate the contact, kind of bulled his way into the end zone there. I think that kind of caught Smyrna off guard, as Fry had tried it twice before down near this area and did not get in. So that time he made sure, kept pushing. Good job by the Middletown offensive line. All of a sudden, it's amazing all the scoring that has taken place in this game.
Yeah, other than Johnston's interception, that was the only series where there wasn't a score in the last 6 series. But that interception turned out to be a lot of trouble for Smyrna, as Drew Fry was able to take it down on a 7-play drive that covered 44 yards. Kayla Bierlein is missed to the left and missed to the right. Nikki Johnston is the holder. Let's see if she can fire it right up the middle to try to cap the scoring for this half, we assume, for Middletown. Kick is down. The hold is down. The kick is up, and it is good. So with 50 seconds left to play here in the second quarter, Middletown has taken a 35-14 lead over the Smyrna Eagles. And, Marty, a lot of people weren't sure who was going to win this game, but my guess is you couldn't find one person in this packed, and I mean packed, stadium. The Middletown, the only space available over there is where the band sits, right? And they're waiting to go on at halftime. There's no seats here on the Smyrna side, and it's wall-to-wall around the fence. It reminds me of Baynard Stadium when St. Mark's plays Sally's. Just an unbelievable atmosphere, and my guess is nobody would have said that one of these teams would be over 20 points ahead of the other one.
No way. And the 34 points is just, one of the unappreciated parts of the Smyrna team, or the less recognized, is their defense. Ever since that 76-56 loss to Sally's a few years ago, their defense has been outstanding as a whole.
And so a little punch kick here, not necessarily an onside kick, but it might turn into that. And instead it's going to go out of bounds, and nobody ever got possession, so it will be Smyrna ball. So Sean Freeberg just kind of punched it out to the right. And again, I don't think it was an onside kick. He punched it too hard for that.
No,
he just didn't want to give it to Whaley and have him or Roberts have a chance to run it back.
And unfortunately, Smyrna almost gave them an opportunity.
Right.
If you're Smyrna, that thing was clearly headed out of bounds. You just got to let that thing go.
And so Sanchez is going to bring his team on the field. They're going to be on their own 38-yard line, 47 seconds left to play. You know, a lot of coaches might just take a knee and go in and lick your wounds and try to come out. Mike Judy isn't one of those coaches here.
Not usually.
Two wide receivers to the right, two to the left. Whaley is on the right hip of Sanchez, as he has been most of the night. And Sanchez fires it out, and it's almost picked off. It went in and out of the hands of Devin Smith, and there were 4 people there, including Isaiah Guthrie, who almost came up with it. That would have been a huge mistake for Smyrna at this point in the game.
It really would. Kai Jackson was being covered by Isaiah Guthrie. Isaiah Guthrie left him immediately and picked up that pass, tracked it. Just a little bit too much heat, thankfully, for Sanchez. Guthrie not able to come up with the pick.
And so it's 2nd and 10. Ball hasn't moved. It's on the 38-yard line. 3 wide receivers out to the right, 2 on the short side here for us. Sanchez drops back, and he's being chased out of the pocket, runs into his own lineman, and then gets buried there. He started diving for the ground, and Ryan Fields covered him up. A pickup of about 3, so it's not a sack. And it looks like, it is Smyrna is going to take its 3rd and final timeout. So much for, as we said, Mike Judy's going to try to score here.
He does things different. That was a coverage sack by Middletown. They were all over every pattern, everybody that was out in the pattern for Smyrna. Offensive line did a really nice job for the Eagles, but just nothing available for Sanchez. But as you said, 99 coaches out of 100 are going to let this clock run out and get into the locker room. But we've seen Judy do too many amazing things offensively. I mean, one of the Air Force recruiter that we were speaking to earlier said, "Is there any guy you would claim, would say is an offensive genius in the state of Delaware?" And I said, "I think you're going to see the guy and his staff tonight." Smyrna, one of the things they've done. I mean, you don't get too many teams, John, that can win a state championship by throwing the ball around, running it around, then getting to the state championship game and saying to your all-state quarterback, Nolan Henderson, "No thanks, we don't need you today," because we determine we can run the ball and pick up 6 yards a pop all the time. So you got to love the way he approaches the game. It's all about winning football.
And that's driven from the top bottom that this is a team sport. It's a team game. That's why guys like Stephen Whaley and Emmett Roberts hung around his first 2 years. Like we said, they could have started on a lot of teams, but they knew their time would come, and it is here. Sanchez drops back on the 3rd down and 7. He's going to keep it, and he's going to try to pick up the first down, and he dives forward to the 50-yard line, and that'll give him the first down. Now the clock will stop while they move the chains. Smyrna is out of timeouts, and they're saying they want Sanchez to spike the ball, it looks like.
Yeah, I think you just got to get off a quick spike here. I know Isaiah Wilson kind of had some interesting takes, and actually they did it again this year. I don't know if that's something Judy teaches. The quarterbacks for Smyrna, for some reason, immediately fire the ball at the feet of the closest eligible receiver. It's only a matter of time before somebody gets drilled in the back of the leg.
Well,
Isaiah Wilson did this several times
what
last year.
What they have to be careful there is it looked like Roberts was only lined up about a foot ahead of the quarterback, and so if Sanchez throws that ball a foot behind, then it's a live ball. So that might be something they point out.
I've never seen that taught before, but apparently it is something they teach at Smyrna, because we've now seen 2 quarterbacks in 2 years run the spike play like that.
And it'd be interesting to ask Judy. I'll have to make a note to do that before we do their next game as to why they do that. Sanchez throws it over the middle, and is that picked off or in and out of the hands? I thought Johnston had it, but it was in and out of the hands. He was trying to catch it in traffic, so incomplete. And Johnston's probably going to tell you he should have had that.
I think we may get. I think we're going to get either a holding call on on Smyrna. Yeah. So, you know what? I don't mind that pass from Sanchez. There was double coverage on Whaley over the middle. One of the things in their scrimmage against William Penn, anytime Whaley went out into the formation, William Penn had all kinds of problems. They didn't know what to do with him. He'd been a wide receiver for the last few years. He plays H-back. He'll line up in the slot. Middletown tracked him with 2 guys that time. Sanchez put it up there hoping to make something happen. You don't mind that with 12 seconds left in the half.
And so the holding penalty is the 8th of the half against Smyrna. Drops them back to the 35-yard line. And 2nd down and 25. Sanchez gets the hike in the shotgun, rolls out, and fires to his receiver there. He's got Devin Smith. Smith's going to get back almost to the original line of scrimmage. Does get out of bounds, which will stop the clock, and it's going to bring up a 3rd and 13.
And now here, I guess if you're Smyrna, I'm guessing you're going to run. Who knows what Judy's going to do. I would probably run some type of screen here, see if I could get something to happen down the field, set up some blocks. I'm guessing – for a sophomore, I could be completely wrong. I'm guessing Sanchez doesn't have the arm strength, and he's actually going to come out of the game, or he's coming to the sideline here. I'm guessing he doesn't have the arm strength to get this near the
No,
inside.
now he's coming back. Yeah, you're right. They had it lined up as
Yes.
if Whaley was going to be the quarterback. I thought maybe they were just going to let Whaley try to run it into the end zone. There are 3 wide receivers on the short side here. Smyrna's moving right to left. 3.9 seconds left. They trail 35-14 here in the second quarter. The snap is back. Sanchez drops back. The rush is on, and he's going to heave it. He's got a decent arm. It's up for grabs and incomplete. Johnston on the defense there. They were trying to get it to, there were a couple, Evan Roberts among them, as well as Devin Smith were there trying to haul it down. There is an injured player. It looks like Mekhi Jackson might be injured. He was actually the one I think the ball was thrown to.
Yeah. You'd hate to see that on a Hail Mary at the end of the half.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, to go back to the play, I'm impressed with Sanchez's arm.
Yeah.
I take it back. He had a pretty good hose on that throw. So that's something as a sophomore, that arm strength is only going to get better under the tutelage of the staff.
And so they're going to tend to Jackson. We'll have an update for you on him when we come back after our iHeartRadio halftime report. We're going to send it back to Earl Holland. These teams are headed to the locker rooms here. Your score, Middletown 35, Smyrna 14. You've been listening to the game on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports. Earl Holland will be back with that halftime report, and then we'll be back to recap the first half. Once again, Middletown 35, Smyrna 14.
The Hadley Group is your local real estate resource. Brian Hadley joined Patterson Schwartz & Associates in 2005. In 2013, Nicole Flora joined Brian, followed by Emma Burnett and Grant Jepp in 2014. That's when the Hadley Group was formed. Patterson Schwartz Associates offer you exceptional knowledge of local market conditions and a commitment to represent you honestly and professionally. So for your next purchase or sale, think the Hadley Group. Visit our website at thehadleygroup.re.com. Italian began his career in home finance in 2002 as a mortgage consultant. Since 2002, Brian has helped over 1,000 home buyers achieve their dreams of owning a home. Brian's knowledge of current market conditions and his detailed evaluation of buyers' finances ensures that each buyer will receive the best mortgage to fit their needs. Brian is often commended on how efficient and effortless he makes the mortgage process for everyone from first-time home buyers to investors to experienced buyers. For the loan that fits you, contact Brian today. Mr. Italian began.
Hi, I'm Scott Kammerer from Solo Concepts. Solo Concepts is an award-winning restaurant group on the culinary coast with 10 locations. We're a chef-driven group. Come check us out. See you soon. Solo Concepts believes in the vision of our founder, Matt Haley. Cook beautiful, simple food, develop the people we work with, and make the world a better place. Solo Concepts on the culinary coast with 10 locations from Lewis, Delaware to Fenwick Island. Come check us out.
As a military wife, I love helping our airmen and their families with financial tools to help provide financial stability.
I promise to make a positive difference in your financial life, from helping you to lower your payments to discovering ways to help you save for your children's future.
From the needs of college students and first-time auto buyers, I promise to identify and take ownership of your needs.
Local people, local decisions, Dover Federal Credit Union.
As a military wife, I love helping our airmen and their families.
Unique Image opened for business in Wilmington, Delaware in 1979 with one focus, wowing our customers with great products and even greater customer service. 30 years later, we are still doing exactly that. Whether you're looking for marketing tools to promote your business, gifts for your employees or clients, or planning a special event, we're here with the voice of experience to help you every step of the way for your complete satisfaction. Visit our new showroom in the Mill Creek Shopping Center, 4577 Kirkwood Highway. Unique Image, you envision, we create.
Life's too short to hate your home. Remodel your home with the pros voted Delaware's #1 home improvement company. Ferris Home Improvements has something for every homeowner at their new showroom on the corner of Kirkwood Highway and Harmony Road in Newark, Delaware. Explore products and layouts with the area's top designers. Touch and feel products that inspire your dream space. Ferris Home Improvements' pride in the details make them the area's best in roofing, windows and doors, siding, decks, kitchens, and bathrooms. Want a professional, no-pressure remodel? Go see the best at the Big Shamrock on Kirkwood Highway. Ferris Home Improvements. Quality workmanship from a neighbor you can trust.
will be receiving that kickoff, and they have a 35-14 lead here. Lots of lightning storms north, lots of lightning storms south as we're reading the Twitter feeds of games that are in either their first or second lightning delay. A couple games already canceled and pushed to tomorrow. We're hoping to get this entire second half in without delay. So the scoring was quick and often for Middletown. 2 plays from scrimmage is all it took to put 14 points on the board. Najee Smith had both of them, a 31-yard touchdown run, and followed that up by a 75-yard run as well once they got it back after a Smyrna punt. But then Smyrna finally struck on a 12-play, 74-yard drive. It was a 1-yard run by senior running back Stephen Whaley, who punched it in and also scored on the 2-point conversion to pull Smyrna within 14-8 with 2:29 to play. And then that took us into the second quarter and a goal line stance by Smyrna. And just when all the momentum seemed to have shifted the other way, a safety by Middletown on the handoff to Whaley, who never got out of the end zone. And all of a sudden, Middletown was back on the board, 16-8 with 8:36 to play. They would score on the next drive as well on the third play. Actually, the fourth play, a 12-yard run by Najee Smith, giving him the hat trick for 3 scores for the night. Smyrna then came right back, and a nifty pass from Sanchez to Devin Smith pulled them within 22-14. It was a 27-yard pass into the end zone, and so with 3:44 to play, Smyrna had life, but it didn't take long. 2 penalties on the same play, an unsportsmanlike and a pass interference, added 30 yards on to the start of Middletown's next drive, and on the very next play, Drew Fry found Isaiah Guthrie deep in the right corner of the end zone for a 42-yard score. The extra point made it 28. Actually, the extra point was missed, but it stayed at 28-14 with 3:20 to play. Nicky Johnston intercepted a Sanchez pass on the next drive, and Fry quickly converted that into a touchdown. He kept it himself on a 2-yard keeper, and that's where we are at halftime, 35-14. Mekhi Jackson was injured on a Hail Mary attempt late, or as the first half expired. He did walk off under his own power, but with a significant lip. We'll see if he is able to play or not. Marty, your thoughts on the first half, and then if we have time, you've got some out-of-town scores for us.
I thought Middletown got off to such a hot start, and then all of a sudden the momentum switched, and it looked like Smyrna was going to take charge of the game as they spent almost an entire possession running the earthquake down for a touchdown. They never really went back to that, which makes me think the game plan all along was to get Aiden Sanchez, the sophomore quarterback, as much game action, throwing the football, running the offense as possible. Other than that, it's been the Najee Smith show. I mean, he's just been electric tonight. I remember, for the life of me, I can't remember the young man's last name off the top of my head, but the game we did with Indian River in Glasgow last year, the young man from Indian River sort of announced himself to the state with an unbelievable performance. Najee Smith is doing the same here tonight. Nick Johnston has done a fantastic job, which he's always done. He's one of those guys Drew Fry's always been able to count on in the passing game. He came up with a great diving interception to thwart a Smyrna drive at one point. So, Drew Fry, we heard about the back injury early in the season. He didn't play in one of their scrimmages, which, by the way, probably was for the best as they were scrimmaging the number 8 team in America in St. Francis. And just along those lines, we didn't mention this earlier. On October 20th, you joked about us going to Florida.
Right.
Middletown will play the number 1 team in the country on October 20th, IMG, who has a starting front line that averages 6'4" and 315 pounds. We'll talk about that as we get down the line, as that presents a few challenges for Coach Plum and his staff. But for right now, I think Coach Judy's just he's gonna stay the course. Last year Isaiah Wilson struggled mightily in the first half of that first game, but they stayed with him because it was something Coach Judy wanted to get him involved in the offense. He knew he was going to need him in conference games, and I kind of feel like that's how they're treating this tonight. It doesn't mean by any means they don't want to win this game.
Right.
As Smyrna is all about going out there and playing winning football.
Yep.
But I think as big a part of it is to go out there and get as much done and as much work offensively with this new unit. We have a bunch of new offensive linemen for Smyrna, so I think we're going to start to see some of this gel as time goes on. Whether or not they have the time to do it tonight facing a 21-point deficit against a very good Middletown team remains to be seen.
Yeah, the bottom line is if you play in either the Cape Henlopen North or South or the Blue Hen Flight A or Flight B, your goal is to win the
your
conference,
ticket, yes.
because that's your ticket to the postseason. Anything else that happens above and beyond that is great. So while there is obviously a lot of meaning to this game because of the rivalry dating back to when it used to be the Harvest Bowl when they were two Division II teams, this game does not a season make, again, as proven last year when Middletown won and then ended up losing by 3 to Smyrna. All right, so AI and Polytech have already been postponed. Glasgow and Indian River have been postponed. We got word that Newark is in its second rain or lightning delay, I should say. And what that means, for those of you not familiar with it, is basically when they see lightning, they clear the field, and then there can't be a lightning strike within 12 miles, I think is the distance, for 30 minutes before they let teams back. So typically, once you clear a field for a lightning strike, you're almost guaranteed a 1 hour delay, because then you got to give time to warm up and all that other stuff.
Resets. That
Right.
half hour resets with
Every lightning strike. Right,
after, so
exactly.
You could be
So
looking at a long night.
we're keeping our fingers crossed. We were looking at some radar here on our phone, and it's raining and lightning north of us, and it's raining and lightning south of us. The gods are with us, or Mother Nature, I guess I should say, is with us right now. Teams are back out. We're about a minute from kickoff. Couple scores, Marty.
You know, out of state, you talked about that Newark game being in a delay. St. Mark's leads that game 14-0. They're in a lightning delay with only 17 seconds left in the second quarter. In the third quarter, McCain has used a pick six to take a 6-0 lead over Tatnall. At halftime, Sussex Tech leads last year's Division II runner-up Milford 14-7. Late in the second, Appoquinimink, this is sort of a surprise, I think. Late in the second, Appoquinimink with a 7-6 lead over Caesar Rodney. At halftime, Delmar is just laying waste to Cape Henlopen, 28-0. That's got to be a real surprise. Even though Delmar won the state championship, Cape Henlopen is J.D. Mall's first game as head coach. You had to think there might have been more there. Last one, DMA 33, Charter at nothing at the half. They are also in a lightning delay now.
And so Anthony Buscemi is going to kick off from his own 40-yard line. One of the biggest two bads, for lack of a better word, at the start of this game was Smyrna won the toss, chose to receive, and then fumbled on the opening snap. And so not only did Middletown get the ball and end up scoring on the very next play, but they knew then already they were going to get the ball to start out the second half. It's Dekez Walker and Najair Smith standing on their own 10-yard line as Anthony Buscemi is set to kick off to start this second half. Middletown with a 35-14 lead. The kick is away, and it looks like it's going to split the two backs there and goes out of the end zone, and so it's going to start. Middletown will start on their own 20-yard line.
You know, we don't talk about the kickers a lot, but you just know Buscemi had to be dying to do that all night long. We've seen him. He hit a 52-yard field goal in a controlled scrimmage against William Penn. He's a good kicker. We've seen him do a lot of things at warm-ups. He doesn't get to do much during the games, so to put one in the end zone on one bounce, the kickoff had to feel good.
And the return men kind of looked at each other,
Yes.
Walker and Smith. Weren't sure if they wanted to try to get it or just let it go through. I think they made the smart move there, let it go out.
7-10 split there from Buscemi. Yes,
And let Drew Fry come out here. So Drew Fry is having a good night passing. We don't have, unfortunately, don't have official stats for you, but he has done what Drew Fry does well, and that is manage this game and get his team on the board, 35 points. He gives it to Najair Smith on what almost was a quarterback keeper, and Smith this time, really that's the first time he hasn't gained significant yardage as he's brought down by the Smyrna defense. Debo Williams in. He was the leading tackler for Smyrna last year. It's going to be a loss of, it looks like, almost 3 yards. Going to bring up a 2nd and 13.
The penetration from the left side of the Smyrna defensive front was excellent there. They cut Najair Smith off sort of right at the knees there. As soon as he got the ball, he was running into a defender. He tried to sidestep and juke outside, but great pursuit by Smyrna to stop him.
And so it's going to bring up a 2nd and 13. Ball on the 17-yard line. Second play from scrimmage for Middletown. They're moving left to right. All white jerseys and pants with the royal blue helmets with the M on them. And it's a quick out to Guthrie. Guthrie shakes one tackle, gets across to the 24-yard line. Still going to be well short of the first down. Going to bring up a 3rd and 6.
And that was a nice job by Gavin Sembley. They ran that bubble screen again, and Sembley just a shoestring tackle because Smith looked like he may have been off to the races if he got through that side there. It was nice blocking by the wide receivers.
And so checking in for Middletown is Tamar Teagle, and heading to the sideline was Ryan Fields. So a change here on 3rd down. We're just starting here the third quarter, 10:46 to play. Middletown with a 35-14 and a big 3rd down play here. Big for them to keep this drive moving. and big for Smyrna. They'd love to get the ball back, having only given up less than 2 minutes of time in what's going to be almost must-score situations for the Eagles. Fry's going over the top, and he's going to overthrow his receiver, trying to get it to Trey Griffin. Nice defense there by Ryan McFarland. And before you say it, Marty, I will. He threw it where only his man was going to catch it.
That's it. And Ryan McFarland did a great job tracking Larry Griffin down the field. Did not let him get past him. Did not let him get an edge on the sideline. So a really nice job by the Smyrna defense to come up big there. You know, that was a real deliberate offensive series by Middletown. As with a 21-point lead, you know, they're not going to be in much of a hurry to do anything offensively. But nice stop by Smyrna to come out and force the 3-and-out.
C.J. Lockett's back to punt for the second time tonight, I believe, on his own 12-yard line. And Evan Roberts, a name I thought we would have called more often, Marty, is standing on his own 40-yard line. We'll see if Mike Judy doesn't try to get him more involved. Now, it could be because of the defense that's being played on Roberts that they can't get the ball to him. The kick is away. It's a booming kick right to where Roberts was standing. He's going to take it at the 36-yard line. He breaks up the middle, escapes one tackle, and then a nice shoestring tackle there. I don't want to say it was a touchdown-saving tackle, but Jaheim Wing with a really nice fundamental shoestring tackle there. But Smyrna is going to start right on the 50-yard line.
Yeah, Eamon Roberts, an all-state wide receiver, as you said, a guy you thought we'd hear more of. I thought the same. Again, and maybe it's just going to take time for Sanchez to develop a rapport with him, but we also want to say that the Middletown defensive backfield has always been one of their strong suits. They are always helped by a strong offensive or defensive front, so a lot of factors involved maybe in keeping Eamon Roberts down so far tonight.
And so Sanchez with a half under his belt. Again, he came into this game having attempted only 4 passes. He keeps it on the keeper up the middle, picks up almost 5 yards. So a nice run by the sophomore quarterback, going to bring up a 2nd and 5.
That was a nice job of reading the defense on the outside right edge as he faked the handoff to Whaley, then pulled it back and got a nice 5-yard gain on first down.
I think this is a big series for Smyrna to get their confidence up, but also to keep the Middletown offense off the field, maybe get a little bit of tiredness into the Middletown defense as well. 2nd and 5, ball on the 45. Smyrna in the white pants, red jerseys, and the white helmets. These are brand new jerseys. Mike Judy, and the run there on that time by Sanchez around the left side, and he's tackled by Anthony Pepper. Is going to be a first down to the 39-yard line. What I was saying is that they're brand new jerseys. Mike Judy was kind enough to text me about 2 hours before I was ready to leave the house and said, "Hey, John, we just got the new jerseys in. There's been some number changes, and here they are." So I guess when you win a state championship 3 years in a row, you're due new jerseys.
Threads, that's right.
1st and 10, ball on the 39-yard line for Smyrna. Aiden Sanchez is in the pistol formation. Whaley on his right hip. 2 wide receivers out to the right, 1 in the slot. Whaley gets it up the middle, and he is corralled by a host of Middletown players led by linebacker C.J. Lockett, who had 32 tackles last year and has had several today. Going to bring up a 2nd and a loss of 2 yards. They're going to bring up a 2nd and 12.
They're going to go back to this earthquake. That time there was no run-pass option at all. It was just a straight handoff to Whaley. And when you take that option away, the Middletown defense focused solely on Whaley and got to him very quickly.
And so 3 runs on this series. They did pick up a first down. Now they've got 2nd and long. Whaley's going to keep it and run up the middle, and he's dragged down from behind by Tamar Teagle. And Whaley still manages to gain about 5 yards, and he was hit before he got back to the original line of scrimmage and carried the defender for 3 yards. Going to bring up a 3rd down and 8.
Yeah, that was a great pickup of about 5 yards. As you said, he was hit behind the line of scrimmage, but then dragged Teagle for about 3 or 4 extra yards.
So 3rd and 8 still in this earthquake formation, which if you're listening and not watching on the live stream on 302, basically everybody is scrunched together with 3 people in the backfield, and the snap goes directly back to in this case, Whaley. It used to be Will Knight, and it works again, but it's going to bring up a 4th down, and you knew they ran that knowing that it was 2-down territory just because they're in the Middletown part of the field, and Smyrna might go for it on 4th down if they weren't in the Middletown field.
Yes, and this is interesting because this is 4th and about 4 or long 3 at least. This is not an easy get for Smyrna at all.
And like you said, it's not like Middletown doesn't know what's coming. The snap goes back to Whaley. He goes over the left tackle and picks up a first down, so they knew it was coming, still couldn't stop it. That's why they caught the earthquake. First down.
And this is what they did during that one touchdown drive where they used exclusively this formation in the first half. It's just a case of blocking down on the ball. The offensive linemen, staying a little bit high. The running backs are able to hide behind them, the 4 men in the backfield, and it just allows for so much confusion. You don't know where the ball's going.
And it goes to Whaley. This time they're going to hand it off to the newest Knight. That's Wayne Knight, the freshman, and he gets it off the handoff in the Earthquake. It looks like he picks up about 4 yards. Going to bring up a 2nd and 6. The ball will be marked at about the 23-yard line.
You know, it kind of reminds me of the old shell game where you try to find out where the ball is, because when you're the defense and you're trying to look over these big offensive linemen, especially if you're at the 2nd or 3rd level, you can't see where the ball is. You have 4 guys with explosive speed back there. One of them is coming through one of the holes.
And so the Earthquake formation again, and this time they fake it tonight. Whaley keeps it, and he tries to get around the edge and instead comes back up the middle, and he's taken down. It's going to be a loss of at least a yard. Now they've stripped the ball. We'll see what the referee says. It might have been Whaley. It looks like they're they're not sure. One ref
started to signal Middletown ball.
The ball was stripped by Tamar Teagle, and they still haven't made a call. The ref who needed to make the call did make it.
Yeah.
And so he was indecisive, and he's looking for help, so credit him for that, and we'll see what they say here. Whaley, I think their question is, did the whistle blow?
Yes.
Because his momentum had been stopped. And so if the whistle blew, it wouldn't be a fumble, but if the whistle did not blow, he was definitely up in the air. And they are going to say that the whistle must have blown because it is going to be a 3rd down.
And that's a good break for Smyrna as they needed to keep this drive going. They've got Middletown on their heels again. This is very tired, very wearing on a defense, this formation.
Yeah, even though you know what's happening, it's a lot of crunching and a lot of hitting. And Whaley goes up the middle again. He's going to be short of the 1st down. And that will bring up a 4th down. They're going to mark it on the 21-yard line, so he's still going to have about 3 yards to go.
And again, if you're an offensive lineman, you absolutely love this formation because you just get to fly off ball, bang into the guy across the line from you. It becomes a one-on-one battle, and whoever wins, it seems to be the Middletown line winning more than not. Smyrna, as they are usually much bigger than the Smyrna line or the Middletown line. And these running backs, especially Whaley, he's taken advantage of. He's done a great job of picking the hole to run through.
So it looks like 4th down and 3. It's more like extra point territory, which is what this Earthquake was started for. And Smyrna is going to take a timeout. I think they realize, Marty, how big this is. We're going to take a timeout with them with 5:39 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Middletown leads Smyrna 35-14.
Are you facing a financial crisis because of nursing home bills?
In life, at every stage, we are here for you, for all of life's big moments, and everything in between. After all, that's what families are for. We promise to make a positive difference in your financial life and go beyond the norm. Be a part of the Dover Federal family.
Local people, local decisions. Dover Federal Credit Union.
No matter.
Marty Sheehan, Earl Holland back in the Newcastle studios. Nick Halliday and his crew here with the 302 Sports live stream after a 3-and-out by Middletown to start this 2nd half with a 35-14 lead. Smyrna has put together 9 plays, but this drive is going to come down to a 4th and 3 with the ball on the Middletown 21-yard line. By that I mean whether this drive will continue or not. Smyrna has been in the Earthquake formation for the majority of this drive. And, Marty, once they get in that formation, it seems that they stay in it till they either score or turn it over, and then they put Sanchez in the next play.
And I agree with you how important this is. It's kind of interesting because that timeout, you also give that Middletown defense a chance to take a deep breath,
right.
Maybe get a drink of water because they are being worn down defensively on this entire drive.
And so here we go, 4th and 3. Sanchez is back in just when I said I didn't think he would be. He's throwing to the end zone, and it's a tipped and then caught, but they're going to say he juggled it and is out of bounds. So it was tipped defensively by Tamar Teagle, and then coming down with it was Devin Smith, who already has a touchdown in that same spot of the end zone. And so they called incomplete, and I think that was the right call, at least at first glance in live action. It's going to be a turnover on downs.
Yeah, that's one I'd love to have the benefit of replay on that one. That was an interesting play there, but a nice job of recovery there to almost bring that in. And, they take the time out. I like the play call. I like the confidence in the sophomore quarterback. And it was there. He just underthrew the ball a little bit. If he puts that to the outside a little bit further, that's a first down, a first and goal situation. So again, a learning situation for Sanchez. But these are big opportunities that he'll take advantage of in the future.
And Devin Smith, only a sophomore, and he's not the tallest of wide receivers either. So he's not a huge target like Fry has in Guthrie on the other side. So with 5:32 to play, Middletown, a big takeover there on downs, and with a lead 35-14. The give is to Smith up the middle. He breaks 2 tackles, almost a third, and is brought down at the 35-yard line. A nice tackle there by Ricky Borders, it looked like, to keep Smith from possibly breaking another one. Actually, that might be Chino Sarson. I can't tell whether that's a 6 or an 8. I think it's a 6, but it's a first down for Middletown either way on the 35-yard line.
Boy, I keep hearing the song Grease Lightning in my head every time this kid touches the ball. He is so slippery. I mean, they have had him so many times, it looks like, at point-blank range, and he's able to slide out of it or juke his way out of it. Just some great moves being put on by a kid he's not a real big kid, but you can see he's a kid who's really in shape. I mean, he's done a fantastic job tonight.
Fry drops back, fires over the middle. He's got his size. Guthrie, are they going to say it's a catch? It was defended there by Debo Williams, both diving, and they are going to say it was a catch. So, again, another throw that only his receiver can catch, and a nice diving forward catch by Guthrie. It's going to bring up a second, and it looks like about 3.
And you're seeing, again, with a guy like Kenny Edelin that's no longer with the team, they need their other wide receivers to step up. And Johnston, Guthrie, Najir Smith can catch the ball out of the backfield. These guys have all done a really nice job tonight, running the ball, catching the ball, blocking up front.
And the handoff this time is in the backfield, and that's going to be knocked down for a loss. The handoff was to Ben Martin, his first carry of the night. Looked like a loss of about 3. We'll see where they spot it. They're going to spot it at the 39-yard line. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 6.
You know, that had the feel of kind of one of those cleanse the palate plays where they didn't want to run necessarily a pass play. They'd love to keep the clock going, but they didn't want to do anything too fancy, so they set up a 3rd and makeable situation. But again, with a 21-point lead, you're definitely playing differently than you would be in a closer ball game.
Well, and if they can pick up another first down, Marty, it's very feasible. They may run out the third quarter, and Smyrna would only have touched the ball one series, albeit it was a long one. A quick out this time. That's Tamar Teagle. He escapes the defense. He's got one man to beat. Unfortunately, it's the all-state player, Debo Williams, unfortunately for Teagle, I should say, and he's run out of bounds at the 19-yard line.
And that was a defensive breakdown. No one picked Tamar Teagle up on the outside. He was lined up unopposed from anyone. Drew Fry saw that, got it out to him. By the time anyone got over to him, of course, he's 30 yards down the field.
And so a first down is exactly what Zach Blum was hoping for. The clock will start as soon as they get the change set, and they're in the red zone now at the 19-yard line. Middletown moving left to right as we see it. 2 wide receivers out to the left, 2 wide to the right here on the long side of the field. It's on the left hash mark. It's a fake to Smith. Fry rolls out to the right. He's going to try to loft it in the end zone. He's got Guthrie, touchdown. The defender fell down, and Guthrie just had to wait for it and haul it in. A 19-yard touchdown from Fry to Guthrie. Second time those two have hooked up tonight.
Gavin Sembley did a nice job in coverage on Guthrie until Guthrie did a little stutter step at the goal line and cut outside. Sembley lost his footing, tripped over his own feet, and just, again, a perfect on-target pass from Drew Fry to a wide-open target for the touchdown.
And so there you see the maturity of Fry and just how good he is. First-team All-State last year, completely poised. And, Marty, he's been playing that way since we first saw him play as a sophomore. He's just gotten better and better. Caleb Bierlein is on to try to extend the lead to 42-14. Nikki Johnston is down for the hold on the 10-yard line. Bierlein has made 3 and missed 2, one to the left, one to the right. The hold is down, the kick is up, and it is no good. This one she missed off to the right. So with 3:21 to play here in the third quarter, Middletown has extended its lead to 41-14. You're listening to the Fox Sports 1290 Game of the Week, presented by the United States Air Force, and watching it live on 302 Sports. We'll be right back after this message.
Life's too short to hate your home. Remodel your home with the pros voted Delaware's #1 home improvement company. Ferris Home Improvements has something for every homeowner at their new showroom on the corner of Kirkwood Highway and Harmony Road in Newark, Delaware. Explore products and layouts with the area's top designers. Touch and feel products that inspire your dream space. Ferris Home Improvement's pride in the details make them the area's best in roofing, windows and doors, siding, decks, kitchens, and bathrooms. Want a professional, no-pressure remodel? Go see the best at the Big Shamrock on Kirkwood Highway. Ferris Home Improvements.
Stadium here in Smyrna, Delaware. The Lightning has managed to stay away from us. It seems to be hitting every other game in the first state. Middletown is hoping they can keep this game going. They've got a 41-14 lead with 3:21 to play, and it's another squig kick off to the right. This one picked up by Gavin Sembley, and he brings it up to about the 43-yard line. Smyrna will take over with 3:16 to play. And Marty, if this isn't a must-score situation for Smyrna, I'm not sure what is at this point, especially the way Middletown's been able to put a couple of that drive together.
I was going to say, at this point, you're trying to put a drive together. You got to, it's the old, you got to get one before you get 2 and 3. At this point, you're going to take as much time as you need to try to punch this one in. They just need to get the offense going again. The momentum that they developed at one point in the first half has just completely evaporated. They've made some mistakes. They've missed some throws. Mostly, though, it's been a really good Middletown defense that kind of made some adjustments.
Yeah, sometimes when an offense is struggling, you forget that they could be struggling because of the defense. And, of course, Middletown known for its defense. Wide receivers, 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Whaley in the backfield to the right hip, and it's going to be give to Whaley up the middle. He escapes one tackler, and then he's brought down there. Nice tackle by Anthony Pepper. Also, C.J. Lockett had contacted him originally. Going to be about a yard, maybe 2 shy of the first down into Middletown territory. Going to bring up a second, and we'll call it 2.
Had a straight run right up the middle for Whaley. You can probably see, and people who can't see at home, Middletown playing a little softer defensively with this big lead now. They don't want to get beat over the top, so you may see the middle of the field open up a little bit for both running plays and the short passing game.
The big lead you talk about is 41-14. We're under 2.5 minutes to play here at Smyrna in the third quarter, and this is another give up the middle to Whaley, of course, the heir of Will Knight, the all-time leading rusher for Delaware. There were 6,000 yards. He picks up the first down tackle made by Ralph Alesi, among a couple others, and so it's going to move it to 42. The umbrellas are going up in the stands, so it lends me to believe that it's starting to drizzle a little bit.
And, John, something you don't really see at a Smyrna game is Smyrna fans, some of them heading for the exits.
Yeah, some of them are with umbrellas. It's everybody's got the radars up. Maybe we should, I don't want to pull it up and see what it is here. First down for Smyrna, and it's a delayed keeper by the quarterback, and Sanchez slides out to about the 38-yard line, going to bring up a second down. And coming up hobbling is Mekhi Jackson, and I think that's a cramp because he didn't get touched, and it's exactly what's happening. He's stretching that cramp out. We didn't talk about that. It's not as humid as it's been for the past week, but it's still hot, and it's hot down there on that turf.
And it has been 90 all week before today, so these kids have been practicing in some pretty extreme heat.
So 1:45 to play here in the third quarter. Middletown with a 41-14 lead. It's 2nd and 6. Ball on the 38-yard line. Smyrna in the red jerseys and the new red jerseys, I should say. The white pants and nothing on those white helmets. No emblem, no nothing. And it's a keeper again, and I think that's going to be a face mask on number 24, Josh Atkinson. So it should be a first down. And coming up a little gingerly there is Sanchez. And it wasn't a malicious one, but it is going to be a personal foul face mask.
If you're Coach Blum, these are the kind of things that will drive you crazy at this point of the game. You have a team like Smyrna on the ropes. You certainly don't want to give them anything. And John, to go back to a point you and I were talking about earlier with Eamon Roberts, I've been watching him in this half, and Middletown is consistently doubling him. They're keeping one man underneath of him and one man over the top. So they are, in essence, bracketing Eamon Roberts and keeping him from doing anything.
And so the first penalty of the second half for either team, and also the 5th penalty of the game for Middletown is going to make it 1st and 10 on the 19-yard line, closer to the right hash mark than the left, but almost straight up the middle here. 1 wide receiver out on the right, 3 wide receivers to the left, and Stephen Whaley is on the left hip of Sanchez. Snap is back as a low one. Sanchez comes away with it, and a delayed keeper, and he dives up the middle. He's going to be short of the first down. Going to bring up a 2nd and 3. They're going to mark it, it looks like, at the 12-yard line.
John, I'll tell you, Stephen Whaley has been hit by Ryan Day probably 20 times on that play tonight, and he is getting blown up every time, even though he's not getting
He's
the
not
football,
touching the ball, right?
Which means that Sanchez is doing a phenomenal job with the play fake, and that's something you love to see from the quarterback. You don't necessarily want to see your star running back getting pounded every play by defensive end, but it's good all the same.
And this time Whaley gets to keep it and brings it up the middle, and he's going to be dragged down by 3 or 4 Middletown Cavaliers. Looks like he's going to be about a half a yard shy of the first down, and limping off the field is Ron Jackson. I think it's probably another cramp. He's grabbing the back of his hamstring, and he wasn't touched on that play. Now the officials have called a timeout, maybe for a measurement. There's 21 seconds left in this third quarter. Still 41-14. Middletown scored the only touchdown of the second half. Smyrna is only touching the ball for the second time. This is their second series. And so
go back to the earthquake formation for Smyrna on the third and short here, which you would expect.
But you're bringing Whaley out, who has been the quarterback of that earthquake formation, for lack of a better term. And so does the responsibility now fall on Wayne Knight, and Mike Judy is going to take a timeout.
He was not happy about calling that timeout. I don't know if the right personnel wasn't on the field. It looked like I'm not sure. The way Whaley came off the field almost looked like he was not thrilled about going off the field at that point either. But this is a huge, sorry to cut you off, just a huge play here for Smyrna. You want to convert here. Again, even if you score at the end or the beginning of the fourth quarter, it gives you the momentum. And with an explosive offense like we've known them to have, you just never know.
And it's third down, and so when you got the only guy that's run the earthquake for you this game coming off the field for whatever reason, whether he took himself off or somebody else off, I think they might want to question what they're going to do here. Now, they are in two-down territory. It's 3rd and 1 on the Middletown 10-yard line, so they're going to be going for it whether they make it or not. All right, Fox Sports 1290 has partnered with the U.S. Air Force Recruiting and Technical Sergeant Andrew Bugg out of the Wilmington, Delaware office. We had the pleasure of meeting him up here in the press box, came up to say hello. We hope to see him again at next week's game at Middletown. The 2018 high school football season on Fox Sports 1290 and iHeartRadio will be presented by the U.S. Air Force. The Air Force offers 100% tuition assistance to pay for college, as well as hands-on training in over 150 different career fields. All right, here we go. 3rd down and 1. Ball on the 10-yard line. Middletown with a 41-14 lead. 17.6 seconds left in the half. Assuming this is a run out of this earthquake formation, and it is Wayne Knight, the freshman, who's going to get the ball, and then he hands it off to Debo Williams, and Williams gets dragged down but does pick up a first down with 12.8 seconds left. They're going to mark it on the 7-yard line, and so they'll get to run one more play if they choose to here in the third quarter. Now, the clock has already started, and Smyrna's used 2 of its timeouts already, so they're not going to take a timeout. We'll see if they're able to get this off. What you don't want to do is miss-execute on this play.
No, and they're not happy. They wanted to get that play off before the start of the third quarter.
Yep.
As you said, that second timeout really hurt where there was some confusion on the 3rd and 1.
Yeah, so instead we're going to come to the end of the third quarter here. When we come back, Smyrna will have the ball on the Middletown 7-yard line. 1st and goal to go. The fourth quarter is all that's left. Middletown with a 41-14 lead here on Fox Sports 1290 and the 302 Sports Live.
Group is your local real estate resource. Brian Hadley joined Patterson Schwartz & Associates in 2005. In 2013, Nicole Flora joined Brian, followed by Emma Burnett and Grant Jepp in 2014. That's when the Hadley Group was formed. Patterson Schwartz Associates offer you exceptional knowledge of local market conditions and a commitment to represent you honestly and professionally. So for your next purchase or sale, think the Hadley Group. Visit our website at thehadleygroupre.com.
Career in home finance in 2002 as a mortgage consultant. Since 2002, Brian has helped over 1,000 home buyers achieve their dreams of owning a home. Brian's knowledge of current market conditions and his detailed evaluation of buyers' finances ensures that each buyer will receive the best mortgage to fit their needs. Brian is often commended on how efficient and effortless
here in Smyrna, where the Middletown Cavaliers have a 41-14 lead over the Smyrna Eagles in what is considered the Harvest Bowl here in Smyrna. And coming out of this in-between quarter break, heading into the fourth, it's going to be 1st and goal to go on the 7-yard line. We'll see. It looks like Whaley is back in the game, and he will be the quarterback of this earthquake formation, which, if you're new to Smyrna football, basically all 11 players line up as close as they legally can to the lineman. There's 3 backs in the back, and basically the ball snapped to someone, which has been Whaley for all but one of these plays, he has the option to either run it or hand it off to the halfback to his left, which is Will Knight. It's a low snap, so Whaley's going to wisely keep it, and he barrels over the left tackle. He's still moving. He gets stood up at the goal line and forced backwards, so he got within about a half yard of the goal line and stuffed by the Middletown defense, but he did get down to the half-yard line, so it's going to bring up a second and goal from inside the 1 yard line.
And you said it, that was a low snap. Whaley did a great job gathering that in and then really pulling his way down to about the 1.5 yard line. So a great opportunity here for Smyrna to punch one in very early into the fourth quarter.
And based on the number of umbrellas that have gone up around the stadium here, the rain has arrived, and we're okay with the rain arriving. Yes. It's the lightning that we don't want. The snap is back to Whaley, and he gets brought down in the backfield. A big tackle by Tamar Teagle there to actually make it a loss of about a yard, so it'll bring up a third and what will probably be officially a 2 yards to go into the end zone.
It looked like there was some confusion there. Whaley hesitated before cutting forward, which allowed the end on the left side of Middletown's line to get in there and hit him at close range. So I don't know if he held on to the ball too long or what happened there.
And the snap is back, and it's to Whaley, and he barrels forward, and it is a touchdown. So Whaley with his second 2-yard touchdown of the night to make it a 41-20 game. The 2-point conversion pending with 10:46 to play here in the fourth quarter. And, Marty, the nice thing about that for Smyrna is, well, I shouldn't say nice. It took about 4.5 minutes for that series to go. It was a 9-play drive of 57 yards, but it took all of 3:16 in the third quarter and a minute and a half here of the fourth quarter.
I still don't think, if you're Coach Judy, I still think you love that drive. Even though it took long, you're more interested in the long-term outlook here. Your team came out and responded, ran a really good, strong drive right up the field.
And I agree with you. I think he's now not playing to necessarily win this game as they line up in the earthquake formation, and Whaley tries to pop it up over the top of everybody to Ron Jackson. It's knocked down by the defense, so the 2-point conversion is no good. It's going to stay 41-20, and so we're going to take a quick break here. 10:46 to play in the fourth quarter. Middletown keeps its lead 41-20.
Hi, I'm Scott Cameron from Solo Concepts. Solo Concepts is an award-winning restaurant group on the culinary coast with 10 locations. We're a chef-driven group. Come check us out. See you soon. Solo Concepts believes in the vision of our founder, Matt Haley. Cook beautiful, simple food, develop the people we work with, and make the world a better place. Solo Concepts on the culinary coast with 10 locations from Lois, Delaware to Fenwick Island. Come check us out. Hi, I'm Scott Cameron from Solo Concepts. Solo Concepts is an award-winning restaurant group on the culinary coast with 10 locations. We're a chef-driven group. Come check us out. See you soon. Solo Concepts believes in the vision of our founder, Matt Haley. Cook beautiful, simple food.
The iHeartRadio postgame show presented by American Spirit Federal Credit Union, bringing you Kasasa Checking. Ask for free Kasasa Checking by name at American Spirit Federal Credit Union in Newark, Middletown, and Dover. Visit AmericanSpirit.org. 41-20. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. Middletown with a lead. Buscemi with an onside kick, and he kicked it down in the ground, but it didn't pop up, and it goes out of bounds. And so we'll see here. I don't see a flag down yet. Nobody touched it, so still nothing yet. It's going to be, right now they've got it marked at the 33-yard line. And so we talked about this the pop-up rule where you can't pop the ball up, and he didn't pop it up, although he drove it into the ground. He kind of skidded his foot across the dig.
And, you know, that's a totally different skill. I mean, they had trained their kickers to do that so extremely well. But, again, for issues of safety where you'd have guys with their heads up being just rammed into at full speed by the oncoming kicking team. So it was a good rule for safety purposes. It clearly – Smyrna hasn't run that as successfully as they have in the past since that rule.
Middletown has the ball on their own 33-yard line. It's raining a lot harder now. Fry drops back, fires it, has his receiver at the 44-yard line, and it's going to be a first down. Didn't catch the number before he got piled on by about 3. It looks like it was Guthrie. It was. So an 11-yard catch is going to be a first down for Middletown.
And I have to think that caught the Smyrna defense off guard. I don't think they expected Drew Fry to come out throwing on first down with a 21-point lead and 10 minutes to go in the game. But if you're Middletown, you've seen this play before where Smyrna comes back from, they went on such a roll in the championship game last year. You want to keep the pressure on. Plus, they're also using this. This is the first game of the season. You want to get as much work in as you can.
Yeah, I was thinking Smyrna was thinking about the next game or at least the season as a quick out there to Johnston, and he catches it and goes on his knee, and now there's a late flag, and that might be a late hit after the whistle, even though Johnston wasn't down.
Johnston, I think he was down, but then he popped up. He didn't think he was down,
right.
So, which I almost think he waved that one off. The defender hit him because he thought Johnston was still running.
Yeah.
And that's because Johnston himself kept running.
And so it is going to be
that's
waiting
an
for the official.
Flag. I certainly didn't see anything malicious there.
It is a personal foul. It's the third personal foul or unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Smyrna there. And I agree with you, Marty. I don't think there was anything malicious there. I think it was he thought the receiver was still on his feet, and so he went for the hit and didn't hear the whistle. But it must have been the ref who threw the judge who threw the flag must have been the one that blew the whistle is probably what happened. So anyway, it's going to be 1st and 10 as Smyrna picks up the 15-yard penalty, and it moves the ball to the 38-yard line. And the rain is coming down here. Middletown's moving right to left, and now it looks like Middletown is going to call a timeout. There seemed to be some confusion getting the play in from the sideline. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 313, and the National Electrical Contractors Association, NECA, energizing Delaware. With their highly skilled electricians partner with signatory contractors, Local 313 electricians will safely get your job done right, on time, and within budget. Visit IBEW313.org. We appreciate their contributions to our weekly Game of the Week broadcast. And don't forget about Domino's Hotspots. I've seen the commercials about this, and it always cracks me up. Get pizza delivered to outdoor locations like parks, beaches, and more. Not at home? Don't worry about it. Not a problem. Visit Domino's.com for details on Domino's Hotspots. I think we're going to put that to the test before the season's over, Marty.
You know what we should do when our buddies Don Bolts and Bill Harmon are together with us at some point? We should all hit the hotspot and see what happens.
Better yet, we should get them to pay for it.
Go.
We'll order it and tell them it's theirs. All right, 1st and 10, ball on the 38-yard line, and it's a handoff to keep that clock moving, and it was Ben Martin with his second carry of the night. The first one was for a loss. This one got back to the line of scrimmage, and so it's going to bring up a 2nd and 10.
And Middletown now is certainly going to go into a mode where they're trying to use as much clock as they can. They certainly may still try to punch something in. Again, in the first game of the season, you're trying to work on as much as you can, but I'm certain the emphasis is going to be running this down in Drew Fry's head as best he can.
And that's because you don't want to give Smyrna that opportunity.
No, you don't.
They can score 3 times in 9 minutes.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen. You forget that Nolan Henderson's not here and Will Knight's not here. This is a Smyrna offense geared to do that as Johnson takes the pass on the right side, and he's run out of bounds at the 31-yard line, so he's going to be shy of the first down, but a nice running catch by Johnston.
And, since the first quarter when Fry missed on 2 or 3 passes that he normally hits, he has been, for the most part, right on target tonight. And the times he hasn't been, where he has been intentionally throwing it away or throwing it in a spot where only his receiver can get to it, sometimes that's resulted in an incomplete pass because it was over a receiver's head. But there's always a rhyme to a reason when Fry puts the ball in the air.
Taking a lot of time to get this play in. Again, neither of these teams huddle up. They do different things. They've got signs up top. They look at their wristbands. A lot goes on. The judge still hasn't made a signal, although the back judge does have his hand up, so that means it's getting close. And just as he starts waving, Fry drops back, fires over the middle. He's got Guthrie at the 10-yard line. 5, fumbles the ball, and Smyrna falls on it. So what looked like to be a touchdown that probably would have sealed this game, Guthrie fumbles the ball at the 4-yard line, and it's fallen on by Ryan McFarlane.
And I think that might have been Chino Sarson, who was one of the ones who ripped that ball out down near the goal line. Great job of Smyrna of not giving up on that play. As Ice Guthrie, you always want to see a receiver fight for it, but how many times watching college games, pro games, have we seen a guy fighting for extra yardage? He gets held up when another guy comes in and strips the ball away. It looked to be the case there. So, if I'm Mike Judy, I love to see that intensity from my team, my defense, still down by 21 points with 8.5 to go.
Well, but it's that type of play. You're exactly right. It's what these coaches are looking for.
Yes,
Who's still in the game?
Championship teams,
Right.
Yep.
Who's still in the game? And Smyrna certainly is. 8:51 to play. They've got the ball, albeit on their own 3-yard line, moving left to right. The rain is coming down, and they hand it to Whaley up the middle, and a nice tackle there. It looks like about a 2-yard loss. And trying to see the number through the rain, and that was Cade Kruger, the senior defensive lineman that made the tackle there on Whaley. Now remember, Smyrna's already used 2 of its 3 timeouts, so they can't afford to take a timeout for something silly. It's got to be a strategy reason.
This has got to be pace now, and this is a great opportunity if you're Coach Judy to put your young quarterback in a position where he's facing something in a situation where he's not necessarily going to win the game. You never know, but most likely percentages are they won't. But you want to see how he responds in this situation where they need to get going. And to be honest, they are taking forever to get this play off.
And what they've done is they've changed the formation to the Earthquake. Whaley is the quarterback of the Earthquake, and I say quarterback. He's only thrown out of it one time the entire game, and he gets put back, and this might be a safety. Waiting for the call. Now, he did have forward momentum, and they're going to say he got out of the end zone.
I think they're giving him the benefit of the doubt there, but it did look like he crossed over the goal line before he was swarmed over by the Middletown defense. So
yeah, it's close.
I like that call. We're far away, but it looked like a good call by the official.
Nick Halliday, 302 Sports, just gave us the safety signal, but unfortunately he's in blue and not black and
Nick
white
also
stripes.
couldn't remember what street he lived on.
That's
before
true.
The game
We had that
tonight,
conversation,
so
too.
got a grain of salt, right?
All right, 3rd and 12 to go. Ball is as close to the goal line as it can be without being in the end zone. A late player runs on for Middletown, and this time Whaley gets around the left side, and Johnston makes a nice touchdown-saving tackle at the 20-yard line. And Johnston comes up a little bit lame. I'm hoping for his sake it's a cramp, but he's rolling around in pain.
Yeah, that's I'm with you. I hope that is a cramp. That was a great job by Johnston to stop Whaley. Whaley with a great job. It almost like he faked inside and then tore off to the left side, got outside containment, and made his way up the field. Johnston with a touchdown-saving tackle.
And the way they're pulling Johnston off the field on his rear end, pulling on his leg, it's got to be a cramp.
Yes.
So if there was anything else, they wouldn't be doing that. So that's great news for Delaware High School football. You don't want to lose any players at any time, let alone a senior on week 1. And their officials have stopped playing. It looks like they're going to give a sideline warning.
I think it's because of
Johnston, trying to get Johnston out of the way. Whatever. It is what it is. 7 minutes to go. 41-20. Smyrna's still got life here after that first down run out of the Earthquake formation. Sanchez is back in the traditional formation. He drops back. He's going to try to throw it over the defense. He does, but it's incomplete. He was trying to hit Devin Smith on the run, and a nice defense there by Tamar Teagle, it looked like, on the far sideline, going to bring up a 2nd and 10.
And again, that's a real tough throw for a young quarterback. That's got to be a back shoulder throw because the defense was toward the inside of the field. The receiver had to come back toward the middle of the field for that. You don't want him to have to do that. But again, great experience here to be put in this situation for Aiden Sanchez. And overall, John, I've been pretty impressed with this kid.
Yeah, he reminds me of Drew Fry when he was a sophomore.
He does.
He's playing with a lot of poise. He's made good passes even when they've been passes that weren't complete. He keeps the ball there and runs it up the middle, picks up about a yard. That's going to keep the clock running, so that's the only bad thing about that. Plus, he only got a yard. It's going to bring up a 3rd down here. The clock is running, 6:40 to play. Middletown hanging on to a 41-20 lead. They led 35-14 at the half after jumping out to a 14-0 lead. They scored twice on their first 2 plays from scrimmage. Najera Smith, a 31-yard run and a 75-yard touchdown run. 3rd and 9 on the 22-yard line. Sanchez rolls out. He's looking. He's got a man wide open downfield, but he waited too long, and instead it is picked off by Esias Guthrie, and he's brought down by the original intended receiver, which was Dimitri Carter, who was open, and he had beat his man, but Sanchez just took a little bit too long to get that ball in the air.
You know what? It looked like it didn't come out of his hand exactly right. It is a little wet down there now, and we've seen him put some real juice on the ball tonight, and that ball really had nothing on it. And, if you're watching at home on the live stream at 302, Salim Wormley just demolished the guy on opposite him on the Middletown line. He may not want to be in the room when they show that in the film room on Monday. But, again, you're playing against the guy who's the highest recruited player in Delaware this season. So, overall, no shame.
Was there a flag? There must have been a flag after the play. I don't know what they're doing.
We still got the offense on the field.
It must have been no indication yet what's happening. They are marking off a penalty, and it's going to stay Smyrna ball at the 37-yard line. Unless I missed it, the referee didn't make a signal.
And Sanchez is cramping. He just came out of the game, got stretched out really quickly by the staff here. He'll be back in a moment.
All right, so the interception is null and void for whatever reason. And Whaley's going to keep it, and he's going to run up the middle and pick up about 5 yards. They're going to mark it at the 42-yard line. And that'll bring up a second down. There's a roughing the passer penalty,
okay.
Nick Halliday is telling us. So, and that makes sense where it was.
We left it on the throw. So
right.
Yep, okay. And I've been impressed with Whaley tonight, too. He's a kid who's a gamer. He's taken a lot of punishment tonight. He's been hit. As I said, Ryan Fields has hit him routinely all night on the run-pass option where Sanchez keeps the ball.
And this time Knight's going to get it. He's going to be taken down. He gets back to the original line of scrimmage before he gets swarmed under. Among them is Sean Freeberg, only a sophomore. Also the kicker getting in on the defense here. Big kid. He's big for a kicker.
Yes.
But you understand why he's in on the defensive line as well.
Yes.
And so it's going to bring down up a 3rd and 5 now for Smyrna. And Sanchez is back on the field. 2 wide receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Scampering off real quick is Ricky Borders. He was the 12th guy on the field. Whaley is on Sanchez's right hip, who's in the shotgun formation. And it's going to be a quick out and in and out of the hands of the guy in white. So almost a interception there. That looks like it was Demetric Denson, the junior defensive back, who had it in his hands, literally.
I honestly think they're going to have to stop throwing the ball. Sanchez can't hold the ball. That's the second time in a row he's grabbed Stephen Whaley after the play and used the back of his shirt to try to wipe his hands off. He's just not getting any grip.
And he's got a
on
towel.
the ball at all.
He's got a towel hanging out the back of his shirt, but that could be wet too. It rained really hard, and it looks like it is still raining a little bit.
He's really struggling to get a grip on the ball.
So 4th and 5. You could say this might be for the game if they can't convert this. He goes over top, and he's trying to find his all-state wide receiver, Emin Roberts, who is double-teamed there by Johnston along with Ikez Walker, and it's incomplete. So it's going to be a turnover on downs for Smyrna. And that's going to bring the Middletown offense back on the field with Fry's probably only instruction from Zach Blum is don't turn it over and keep the clock running as they're going to start in Smyrna territory at the 42-yard line.
And to your point earlier, I don't believe Eamon Roberts has a catch tonight.
I don't think he does. If he does, it wasn't a significant one.
I mean, it's been a really frustrating night for him. It'll be interesting to see how he responds. Again, an all-state wide receiver. The kid's got all the skill. I'm sure breaking in a sophomore quarterback is not the easiest thing in the world. So I'm guessing we will hear much more from Eamon Roberts as the season wears on, especially as they get into conference play.
Yeah, and let's remember this defense is no slouch either. Might very well be the best defense in the state. So he's not going to face a better defense most likely the rest of this season. 1st down, Fry hands it off as we expected. Smith has it. Smyrna trying to strip it out, and they can't. Instead, they take him down behind the line of scrimmage. Elias Statham, the freshman defensive lineman, gets an opportunity to play there. It was a gain of about a yard. They're going to give him some forward momentum there, bring up a 2nd down. 4:40 and running. Middletown with a 41-20 lead in this early big battle between the 2 top teams in the state, no matter what pool you'll look at, or poll, I should say, you look at. They've got these 2, 1 and 2.
And let's face it, we're going to see a drastic overreaction by some people. Oh, Smyrna's done. Nolan Henderson, Will Knight, they're all gone. Letty Brown's gone. They're done. Right, stick a fork in them. And we know that's not going to be the case.
No, not at all. Quick out and an incomplete pass, so it stops the clock in and out of the hands of Trey Griffin, the senior wide receiver. And there's a case, I think, of the slippery ball you were talking about, Marty.
I agree. And again, at this point, I'll be honest, that pass surprises me. If I'm Zach Blum, I want to get out of here as quickly as possible with no injuries, especially when all of a sudden we have guys dropping like flies with cramps all over the field. I'm surprised you just don't run this into the line and kill the clock, especially with Smyrna, I believe, down to one timeout, or are they out of time?
Smyrna has one left, unofficially.
Which really is negligible with 4:09 left.
And so the clock is stopped. 3rd and 10. Ball on the Smyrna 42-yard line. Middletown moving right to left. 3 wide receivers out to the right, 1 to the left. And Fry gets flushed out of the pocket, fires, and has his man right at the first down mark. I believe it's Teagle there at the 32-yard line. And that's going to about wrap it up. It was Tamar Teagle there. A perfect throw and a perfect pass route.
Yes, I talked about that earlier. Fry has gotten so good at rolling out to his right and finding the receiver. And that time, Teagle just sat down as the defender ran past him. And I don't know what the footing is like at this point, but there was a lot of cushion there. Fry put it right on target. Teagle secured the catch and goes down in bounds.
And so the clock running 3:44, Middletown a 41-20 lead. They've got it 1st and 10, ball on the 31-yard line. And my guess is, as competitive as Mike Judy is, Marty, he is in the same thinking of let's get out of here without any more injuries. Fry's got it. He's going to hand the ball off, and that was Ben Martin getting his 3rd carry, I believe, of the night. Picks up 3 yards. Between 2 and 3, we'll see what they mark. It's going to mark at the 29-yard line. So Martin getting a couple carries here.
Yeah, now, looking forward, again, if you're Smyrna, this is kind of a back to the drawing board, but it's a learning experience. Everybody is going to take something from this game. The coaching staff, as we know, has tons to bear with the penalties, the mistakes in the first half, but they never gave up, and it's the sign of a Judy coach team. The 3 championship teams that came before them, that's going to serve as motivation. They're far from done.
2nd and 8, 2:50 to play here. Middletown close to the red zone of Smyrna. It's a fake handoff. Fry getting chased out of the pocket. He's going to run out of bounds, but not till he picks up a 1st down, and that will pretty much seal the deal here. Even though the clock stops, it's going to be a 1st and 10 on the 20-yard line with 2:39 to play.
And probably the one time you don't mind somebody going out of bounds is if it's your starting All-State quarterback. You don't necessarily want him sliding and taking your chances to stay in bounds, and you certainly don't want him taking a big hit. So no problem with Fry running out of bounds on that one.
Johnson is on the sideline. He cramped up. I don't think he came back in, or maybe he was trying to get back in and he scooted back out. They're not going to try to risk anything else happening to him.
Yeah, in this 4th quarter, we've seen a number of guys on both sidelines being stretched out for cramps as this night is worn on.
1st and 10. Fry is in the shotgun, and that is Ben Martin to his right, and he's going to get the handoff. He spins out of 1 tackle and is brought down at the 20. Debo Williams, the first state all-team linebacker for Smyrna, with the tackle. The clock is ticking under 2:30 to play. Middletown's going to walk away with this one with a solid Game 1 victory, which is what you want as a coach, and as far as we know, basically an injury-free victory as well.
Yes, I agree. And remember, this was a 22-14 ball game at one point. I mean, this was still very much up and down late in the 2nd quarter, and Middletown just kind of turned it on. They made some defensive adjustments. Again, they took Eamon Roberts completely out of the game. They did a nice job reacting to the run-pass option. Defensive backfield. Now, once they got a lead, they were able to put more people in the defensive backfield, which resulted in an interception.
Little confusion in the backfield, and Fry is getting chased and still chased, and he finally brought down. And a nice tackle there by Smyrna. That was number 8. It looked like Ricky Borders, or is that number 6 again? I can't. It is 6.
Yes.
Gino Sarson with the sack. So with 1:30 to play, the clock will continue to run.
Now, I'm always amazed by coaches, and they know more than I do. But I'm always amazed a guy like Fry is in the game now.
Yeah.
Put your backup quarterback in the game. This guy had a back injury he dealt with in the season, and because of a busted play, he just took a pretty good hit and wrench from 2 Smyrna defensive players.
Yeah, and in Blum's defense, the only defense, he wasn't putting him in a situation, but he got put in a situation because of that. And so that's what you said. Still back to your point.
As a coach,
that's what you don't want.
You don't know what's going to happen. Yeah.
And Blum is going to take a timeout. We're going to take our final timeout in a nick of time because we're under a minute to play, 58.3 seconds to play. Middletown with a 41-20 lead. You're watching Week 1, Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on the 302 Sports Live stream.
Financial tools to help provide financial stability.
I promise to make a positive difference in your financial life. From helping you to lower your payments, to discovering ways to help you save for your children's future.
From the needs of college students and first-time auto buyers, I promise to identify and take ownership of your needs.
Local people, local decisions, Dover Federal Credit Union.
As a military wife, I love helping our airmen and their families with financial tools to help provide financial stability.
I promise to make a positive difference in your financial life, from helping you to lower your payments to discovering ways to help you save for your children.
And it's almost over here at Williams Stadium on the Smyrna High campus. Middletown's going to go away with a 41-20 lead, under a minute to play. Drew Fry rolls out and has his man. That's Johnston. Johnston shakes one tackle down to the 12, 13-yard line. The clock is going to continue to run, and depending on how quick they get this ball set up, Marty, they may or may not have to run another play.
Yeah, I'm at a loss for that one. I don't understand why you're throwing a ball with 35 seconds to go unless you're really trying to irritate the other sideline. But no, you're right. At this point, I mean, I'd even almost consider if you may throw it up for grabs, you may try to run something, but you just don't want to do anything stupid here. You don't want to get anyone hurt.
Right.
You can't score a 21-point touchdown. So. No matter what you do here, just burn as much clock as you can.
And the only thing we can think of, and we've said this before, is, it's week one. They're trying to work on their 2-minute situation.
Yep.
If this game's tied, they've got to score. And J.R. Smith, who's got 3 touchdowns tonight, is not going to get a fourth as he gets taken down, and it's going to be a turnover on downs with 3 seconds left to play. So certainly not trying to score there, you don't think. But, again, that's, probably what Coach Blum is trying to do, is trying to work on his two-minute offense. But like you said, the risk reward of that is what, fortunately they got out of it without any injuries, as did Smyrna.
And it's funny, it's one of the few times, again, that J.R. Smith was really stopped without doing any kind of damage, because he has been just pinballing all around this Middletown or this Smyrna defense tonight.
Yep. And so Smyrna's going to get one more snap here. They've got the ball on the 15-yard line, moving left to right as we see it. Middletown has its prevention defense in. They've got 5 guys lined up on the other side of the field, so they're determined not to let Smyrna score, even though the score would be completely meaningless at this point. Sanchez drops back, and he's going to just dunk it out to the side to Whaley. Whaley's got it at the 25, 30, and he's running more east to west than north to south, and he is run out of bounds to end the game, and that was Jaheim Wing, who ran across the field to knock Whaley, and Whaley's getting up a little gimpy. Hopefully nothing serious, but what a night he had in terms of the workload for him, and carrying the workload here for the Smyrna team. But unfortunately for them, they do not come out on top, as it's the Middletown Cavaliers, the visitors, who drove 10 miles south here. They're going to have a happy bus ride back, albeit a short one, as they're going to go away with a 41-20 victory over the Smyrna Eagles. When we come back, it's the IBEW it's the American Spirit Federal Credit Union post-game show. You're listening to the Fox Sports 1290 High School Football Game of the Week, presented by the U.S. Air Force, and watching the live stream on 302 Sports. Once again, your final score, Middletown 41, Smyrna 20.
Unique Image opened for business in Wilmington, Delaware in 1979 with one focus: wowing our customers with great products and even greater customer service. 30 years later, we are still doing exactly that. Whether you're looking for marketing tools to promote your business, gifts for your employees or clients, or planning a special event, we're here with the voice of experience to help you every step of the way for your complete satisfaction. Visit our new showroom in the Mill Creek Shopping Center, 4577 Kirkwood Highway. Unique Image, you envision, we create. Unique Image opened for business in Wilmington, Delaware in 1970.
every stage, we are here for you. After all, that's what families are for. We promise to make a positive difference in your financial life and go beyond the norm. Be a part of the Dover Federal family.
Local people, local decisions. Dover Federal Credit Union.
No matter where you are in
Producing
life.
for us back in the studio, and Nick Halliday and his crew on the 302 Sports live stream. Middletown moves to 1-0 on the season. Smyrna to 0-1. Not the second time. Now, for the second consecutive year, Smyrna has started the season off with a loss. In fact, last year they started off with 2, but they won the last game of the season, which only one team can do. So I'm sure that will be part of the message that Mike Judy delivers. So a good game here. Now, Jair Smith had 3 rushing touchdowns for Middletown. Drew Fry had 2 passing touchdowns to Asai Guthrie, and Fry also added on a 2-yard quarterback keeper, and there was a safety as well, a big one, since Smyrna had just held up the Middletown offense on a nice goal line stance, and then on the very next play, Middletown recorded that safety. For Smyrna, Whaley had 2 rushing touchdowns. He probably had at least 30 carries. We don't have the official stats. And Aiden Sanchez, the sophomore, had at least 30 carries. We don't have the official stats. And Aiden Sanchez, the sophomore quarterback, had his first ever career touchdown pass, a nifty 27-yard toss to Devin Smith. Had almost another one deep in the same part there that they called out of bounds. We watched the replay here, compliments of 302 Sports, and it was too close for us to make a decision. But either way, a well-played game by both these squads. A lot of penalties, but you expect that in game one. Middletown had 5 penalties, and it looks like Smyrna ended up with 9. I think the only one that really hurt Smyrna was when they had those back-to-back penalties, the interference followed by the unsportsmanlike conduct, which gave Middletown an additional 30 yards, and it went from them being on their own side of the field almost into the red zone on the other side. And so that was a big turning point, or not a turning point, Middletown had to lead, but it was a point that I think if that hadn't happened, Smyrna still had a shot there. So well-played game. Again, your final score, 41-20, Middletown over Smyrna. The next games for these two are Smyrna heads to Franklin High School in Maryland, a team that beat the Eagles by 10 last season, and Middletown has the big Flight A Conference game at home against William Penn next week, and we'll have that for you here on Fox Sports 1290 and 302 Sports. Marty, your thoughts on the game and both of these two teams going forward?
You know, I thought the game it didn't shake out at all like I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a tight, not necessarily a high-scoring contest, but, you know, maybe somewhere in the 20s for both teams. Certainly the weather